in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? Really like that. You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network, brought to you by our friends over at Better on what is indeed a What If Wednesday. It is Wednesday, middle of the week. I know you had a long work week already. Still got 2 days left, but we're right there. Hump day. It's a great one. All right, we got a great show for you guys planned tonight. It's loaded as usual. I want to open tonight's show with the idea of being present, gentlemen. The idea of being co-evil. The idea of being coetaneous, the idea of being concomitant. All right. When you think about the week 3 slate this weekend, understand something. It is indeed week 3 of college football, which means Saturday night at the culmination of the split screen between that dynamic football game.
Live on.
Dang it, man.
I know you're cooking. Just
you
got to make sure it sounds right.
This man's out here cooking, just absolutely forgetting to do his job. Absolutely forgetting to do his job. He's cooking, but absolutely forgetting to do his job. Static Brooks, shouts out to the chat. Be present this weekend. Be co-evil this weekend. Okay? Be coetaneous this weekend. Be available this weekend. It is week 3 of college football season, which means at the culmination, as I said, of that dynamic football game between San Diego State at Cal and that 10 o'clock start between New Mexico State and Fresno State at 2 o'clock in the morning. Do you know where we will be, gentlemen?
Watching that game.
We will definitely be watching that football game, but at the culmination of that SOB, do you know where we will be?
Where?
We will be 1/4 of the way through the regular season of college football.
Damn.
25% of the glorious time of the year that is indeed college football will have concluded by Saturday night, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Goes fast.
So you be coefficient this or That's what happens when CTE Brady tries to learn big words. You be co-evil this weekend. You be present and you be thankful this weekend for week 3 of college football. Welcome in. We got a loaded show for you guys tonight. It is indeed What If Wednesday. College football playoff picture will receive an update. We teased this last night. We're going to bring it to you tonight. Okay, Texas. I did a film study on that, which for some reason, the people are letting flop right now. And I don't know why, but you know what? As I tell my son, all you can do is try. So we tried, and I'm going to give you the recap of that film study today. I thought it was some of the best work we've done on this network in quite some time. And we're going to lie to you. And it's flopping like a fish out of water right about now. So I hope you guys can throw some support towards that. But we're going to recap that for you guys tonight. There's a couple of lawsuits going around towards the NCAA regarding some pretty famous football players that we love in the world of college football. Florida State lost a key contributor today. College football over the NFL. I think we all agree here on the show tonight. There was a wonderful article written today, which gives us a reason to do what we do best around here, which is them top 5s. All right, we're going to hammer a top 5 for you guys tonight. And Lane Kiffin said what? Lane Kiffin said what? Lane Kiffin telling people what? He put what on a t-shirt? Lane Kiffin wildin'. We're going to talk about it tonight. Shout out to our friends, first and foremost, over there at Better. All right, Better now offers college football props. All right, if you're out here prop playing, there's one place to be. It's over on Better using promo code Brooks. Better now offers college football props. Enter more than or less than key stats on college football players. You can play in now 23 states, including the fine state of Georgia. All right, Better is matching first-time deposits. This is a big one. First-time deposits up to $250 only and only if you use promo code Brooks today. All right, link in the description of this video. Great time to be over there on Better. We got some plays coming up for you later on in the night. We got an actual play getting laid down tomorrow night on the show. Great time to be over there on Better. Hey, 2 weeks strong. I'm 2-0 over on Better. Can you believe it?
Ooh, that's nice.
I ain't going to say nothing about none of them other sites, but I ain't never been 2-0 on no other site. All right, I'm going to tell you that right now. Shout out to the friends over there at Better. I don't know why I threw that. I'm going to need it at the top of the second hour, but we're firing off. All right, where do you want to start, boys? Where do we want to start?
Where do we want to start?
I think I want to start with this Texas film study because I'm upset. I thought that was heat this morning.
I guess we just haven't found the Texas algorithm yet.
I mean, I ain't going to lie. I bet you ain't seen it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I know. Jonathan was in here in the studio. I think it's the only reason he done seen it. I need y'all to watch this because I don't care if you're a Georgia fan and you don't play Texas for a couple weeks. I don't care if you're a Bama fan and you don't play Texas at all this regular season or whatever the situation is. There is football to be learned. There is knowledge to be had on those film studies, okay? So if you're an avid football watcher, if you're an avid football fan, there is something to be learned in that football game. But nonetheless, it'll give us some of the best analysis about this matchup. I know it's Wednesday. I know the calendars moved on. I know the news cycles moved on, but you're going to learn a lot about Texas's offense in the next 5 minutes. So hold on tight while I give you this rundown of this film study, okay? If there's one thing you can't do against Steve Sarkeesian, you were here, you listened to it today. If there's one thing as a defensive coordinator I cannot do against Steve Sarkeesian, what would you say it would be?
Run a base coverage that doesn't disguise anything.
Bingo! Run a base coverage that does not disguise anything. And more importantly, consistently run that base coverage that doesn't disguise anything. I was flabbergasted by the amount of times I watched Michigan line up in basic cover 3. Everybody in the stadium that's seen any football looked at them and said, oh, look, they're in cover 3. You know why that's a bad idea? Because not only do we have helmet comms and not only are we able to talk to that quarterback now, on the other sidelines, the coordinator who I would put up to par with anybody in college football right now with regards to that's what you're playing. All right, well, I'm going to call this because this is what you cannot defend if that is indeed what you're playing. Like I said, I watched Michigan line up in cover 3 about 90% of snaps in this football game and did not do a very good job of disguising said coverage. Sark tore their ass up all football game. Every single play, apart from just running the football to keep people honest and make people believe he was indeed embarking on that part of the game plan, every other play he called was called with purpose and had a plan, had a reason for being employed. All right. And this is what I look for with coordinators. And it's something we're going to talk about in the Kentucky film study when we talk about local hours tonight. When I'm watching bad coordinators, 9 times out of 10, I'm going, what are you trying to do here? What is the purpose? What are we trying to get accomplished? What do you think this is for? What are you attacking on the defense? On great coordinators, when I watch them on film, I'm like, oh, you called this because of this. There are no ambiguities about it. There are no questions as to why. Every play has a purpose. Every bit of intel that can be collected in the first quarter is utilized in the second quarter of these football games, right? Not only are good coordinators good game planners, but they're also good recognizers of what's going on the field. All right, so if you're going to continue to play the same old, well, every single time I come out, I'm going to be more and more confident and having more and more consistent idea about how to attack you on the defensive side of the football. Every bit of intel I felt like Sark collected in that football game, and he continues to collect as a coordinator. A prime example of this, the Ryan Wingo touchdown, right, on the end around. Everybody saw that highlight and goes, oh, wow, Michigan, what the hell? Well, first of all, the end around was the perfect call for what they were playing, which was off soft coverage cover 3 out of a 50 down front. We don't have Epic Pin up right now, do we?
Yeah, we do.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and do this. Because we don't need the actual film. We'll do it on X's and O's, even though it is way better on film. All right, let me show you just what the basic shell of Michigan's defense was, okay? We're in whatever formation we're in. They had a nose, 2-3 techniques, 2 ends stood up, a mic, all right, and then they played a soft 3 shell behind it. So they would roll a strong safety into the box. They would play a free safety at the top of the box, all right? They would have 2 corners in here in soft zone bail coverage into cover 3. All right, I don't think I have 11 people on the field. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There was another linebacker that would apex up over here. All right, so when I get this, and I know these corners are bailing, guys, there is a whole lot of grass, all right, to be ran to out here. What we're not going to do is run anything up in here because they got 4 for our 3. So the whole entire game plan was a lot of jets, a lot of counters, a lot of end arounds, a lot of stuff occupying and attacking these natural voids in this defense that, again, Michigan continued to line up in. And when I first saw the end around, I was like, oh, he probably set that up, right? He probably got into a bunch formation and came back to that later because he saw the bunch formation. In part, it was funny to watch because he got into 21 personnel and ran the end around early in the football game. Michigan stopped it for a +6. Now, he's thinking in his head, this is an explosive. I know it is. How am I going to get to it? I've been setting this up all game. I know they are weak right here in this area. How am I going to get back to it? Well, the next time he came back out, got a first down, okay, right there in that last possession where they score with Ryan Wingo. Gets a first down and immediately has his offense jump on the football out of 11 personnel, okay? So they jump on the football. Michigan scatter and trying to figure out what's going on. They finally get set, does Michigan, and what does Texas do? They scatter to a whole entire new formation. They scatter to the actual formation that they got in earlier to get to the end around just out of a different personnel package. Michigan finally gets set. Everybody's doing this, wondering what the hell's going on. Ball snap, 53 yards later, you're thinking, wow, great end around. And I'm sitting there watching the film going, wow. He was waiting all game to figure out how to get to this play that he knew was going to be an explosive. It was like that the entire day because Michigan wanted to just line up and play football. And you can't just line up and play football against one of the greatest offensive minds in college football right now. You just can't do that. And here was the worst part about it for Michigan. Even when they were being basic in coverage, even when they were being basic in assignment, they still got really good players. Mason Graham, still really good. Will Johnson, still really good. Linebacker core, still really good. And eventually, Michigan football players would create problems for Texas's schematics, right? Sark wouldn't have beat them right off rip. Michigan's players either did a perfect thing to cover what they needed to cover or, oh shit, now they're finally getting pressure. And then now Quinn Ewers takes over. Now Quinn Ewers escapes. And now Quinn Ewers is using his legs, being a playmaker and being a play extender. And by the way, playing with a tremendous amount of confidence, boys. It is really, really high-level football right now, what's going on with the Texas Longhorns.
I was baffled just by how basic Michigan was on defense for going up against not only Sarkeesian, but a 3-year starter in Quinn Ewers. I mean, He's going to have every answer in that offense, and it showed. I mean, every single time that Michigan took away his number one option, he knew exactly where the check down was. He hit it immediately, and he constantly kept the sticks moving. There was nothing that Michigan did to adjust or even try and stop anything.
I wish I would have been able to watch this game live because I would have been hammering money lines. Because the opening possession when Texas defies, I think, 2 holding penalties and a false start, goes on a 13-play drive and has to settle for a field goal because of a hold that was called on a touchdown pass, I would have been like, oh my God, they're going to roll these dudes. Because I would have known Michigan ain't scoring. You can give Michigan 17 quarters. They ain't scoring points today. So, I wish I could have watched this one live because it was very evident to me, oh, wow, one of these guys is attacking. The other guy's just going, well, this is what we've got today. This is what we've got today. It was baffling to watch from a Michigan staff that, I know they had a lot of people leave them, but you're still Michigan, man. You're still a highly paid staff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jesse Minter's not your DC anymore, but going back to what they did and what they succeeded in the national championship, which is part of the reason why I think they won that game, they showed very, very varying defenses pre-snap, which gave Michael Penix fits. The fact that they didn't even try it, and I understand that Jesse Minter is not your DC anymore. The fact that you didn't even try that at any point and you said, okay, we're going to go our base defense the entire game is very surprising to me.
And they did vary the looks on the front a couple of times. They showed some 4 down, they showed some 5 down, they did a couple of run stunts here and there, but that's not what Sark kills you on.
Yeah.
Sark kills you on playing the same coverage and not disguising the coverage.
Yeah, if you're not going to disguise coverage, your quarterback's going to eat you alive. It doesn't matter if you have a 3-man front, if you have a 4-man front, if you're going over or going under. It doesn't matter. Coverage is coverage.
I also think it's doing a disservice to Will Johnson, who's supposed to be one of the best players in college football. Yeah, dude. Just by having him play in cover 3 all game and bail out immediately, I think you're kind of taking away from his playmaking ability. He almost made the one big play against Tech. I think it was on 3rd down or something like that. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, I feel like you're just taking him out of the play almost, and you're asking him to do something that's not his best. Like, at least have him do, I don't know.
Even to the point where I saw Sark attack him a few times, where they put him in conflict, where we're going to run a corner route behind you and an arrow route in front of you, and we're going to let that quarterback look at you and go, all right, what are you going to do? Are you going to pick and choose? And that's what you're doing to, like you said, one of the best corners in college football. The commenters are hitting on it right now. Someone said the coach did the players a little bit of a disservice. I would happen to agree. I don't think you did them a disservice as much as the other coach really, really helped out his football players. I feel like Sark put his guys in tremendous opportunities throughout the football game. Just what they're doing had purpose offensively. And I think that's going to be, matter of fact, I know that's kind of the bag for Sark in general. As long as his offensive line's not getting obliterated, he's pretty good. He's going to handle that. I got asked in the chat, like, of all the coordinators, who can you just mark up and how many points would you mark them up? I'm marking Sark up 28 points just right there. I think Sark's worth 28. Even if his team's just terrible today, he's going to find a way to get 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I would say that's probably the highest value point in the conference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That'll do. All right, we're good there. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and rate, review. And if you miss any portion of tonight's broadcast, it will be made readily available, however, wherever you get your podcast. I think the other thing that I've noticed about Sark since he's been at Texas is the creative reins have kind of been removed from this guy. You know, he was pretty creative at Alabama. But it ain't like this. There's all the bells and whistles attached to this Texas offense now. It is full 100% Sark's kind of bag, and that's kind of fun to watch.
I also think that he might not necessarily have needed to get as creative at Alabama just because, I mean, Texas still has a very talented offense, but what Alabama had on that roster in 2020,
correct,
the couple years before was insane.
Also, by the way, I think we alluded to this when Cedric Baxter first got hurt about how if there's any coordinator that might be able to overcome this, it's probably Sarkeesian. He managed to rush for 149 on, I think, 28 attempts against Michigan. Now, granted, 53 of those are on one run, but they had chunk plays in the run game when they needed to. They took they ate their vegetables on the other reps, but they had the big chunk plays when they needed them. And it was mostly because of what I thought was game planning. You saw it. How many times did they run to the right bubble on Saturday where, there's a void in the defense? We just magically have the perfect run called for that one particular void right there. That's all coaching, in my opinion. All right, playoff picture. College football playoff. Now, going into the season, we all made our predictions. I don't know about y'all, but my bracket's already shot to shit.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, Florida State alone. Clemson's not making me feel great. Notre Dame was in there too. So I'm 9 of 12 already.
Yeah, I think mine for the most part. Like Kansas not looking too great right now. I don't remember if I had Florida. I think I did have Florida State in there, but my Clemson prediction
right
still
there on
alive.
your desk, big guy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's right there on your desk because we printed them out and kept the physical copies. The archives. Yeah, not feeling great about Penn State on this selection either. Notre Dame got picked over Missouri in my final bracket. Boise State, I think I feel decent about that one.
Yeah.
The rest are still intact apart from Clemson, but Clemson's still intact technically.
Yeah, mine I wouldn't feel great about is Kansas, Florida State, Penn State, and Notre Dame. But outside of that, I think I'm looking pretty all right.
All right, should we go to the board? How are you looking, by the way?
I'm looking not great, honestly. I've got Penn State in there. I've got Kansas State, Florida State, LSU.
Penn State Final Four, right?
Yeah, I've got Penn State in the Final Four.
Yuck.
You know, it just happens, you know?
It just be like that sometimes.
It just be like that.
It just be like that sometimes.
Hey, we're only a quarter away there. So
all right, so this is the segment where everybody makes fun of Brooks's penmanship. I don't know how we want to do this. I guess let's go ahead and do conference championship predictions first. Boys, who do you got winning the SEC, assuming they're the number 1 overall seed? Let's go ahead and handle this one.
Let's just play it safe. I'm going to go Georgia.
You're going to go Georgia?
Go top-ranked team right now.
All right, let's go top-ranked team. Let's go UG. Let's go a different color here.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go blue. Blue is what I touched here. UGA. All right, who you got winning the Big Ten? Ohio State. Nice and easy. No need to answer it. I got you. Ohio State. All right, are we all still on Utah to win the Big 12?
I had Kansas, and honestly, I'm riding with the Jayhawks still.
You're still riding Jayhawks. I am not. Are you out on them? We're 2 out of 3 here, so just know that if you pick the Kansas Jayhawks right now, the show is picking the Kansas Jayhawks right now.
I'm going Utah.
Thank you. All right, we'll put them at the 4 seed. Who do you got winning the ACC?
Miami? They seem like the biggest threat.
Miami. I like Miami as a selection there. All right, who is the non-Power 5 selection at this point in the season? Are we going Boise State? Are we going Northern Illinois? Who are we going right now?
It's looking like Boise State's going to be that. I mean, they've got a really physical run game. They've given teams like Oregon problems. So I would say they're the most equipped at the moment to be a Final 5 team.
Any other suggestions? Liberty's already taken a loss.
I would say Boise State right now.
All right, we're going Boise State in at the 12. right, Boise. All right, this is where it gets really, really difficult. All right, so those are the easy selections. Now, let's start listing off teams that we think are playoff-worthy football programs. Right now, through a couple of weeks, they've looked like they've got the goods, dude. We're going to go Texas, okay? Who else we got? We got Texas. We got Ole Miss.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd say Tennessee's in a better argument than anybody.
Tennessee's in the mix here.
Alabama.
Bama's in the mix here.
Ole Miss. Or you're
already got there. How about Mizzou?
Yep.
Mizzou in the mix here. Who else we got?
USC maybe.
Oh, sneaky. Big Ten looking a little discombobulated right now early on in the season. Who else we got? Right? This is where it gets real, real difficult.
I'll be honest. I only had 6 teams where I said, I think you're a playoff team right now.
I had 9. I had Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Miami, Utah, and Missouri, all of which are already on the board.
I just put Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Miami.
All right, so let's start filling stuff in. Who do you got losing the SEC championship game? Bama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, or Texas?
Just ride with the highest team, Texas, right now.
All right, so we're going to put Texas in here at the 5 seed playing Boise, because we think the 5 seed out of the SEC, or the 5 seed is ultimately probably going to be the loser of the SEC championship game. We all feel fair about that. All right, so who is the next highest team? By the way, we need to start marking these teams off as we get them out. All right, so Texas out. Tennessee has an opportunity to be highly, highly ranked towards the end of the year. They got Bama and Georgia on the schedule. You go 1 out of 2 in this, they're probably ranked 6th at the end of the year.
I'm going to go Missouri simply because they have an easier schedule. I don't think Missouri finishes this season undefeated, but they don't have to play a Bama and a Georgia this year.
All right, so you got Missouri. That means you're going to have Bama losing that football game. So you got Bama down just quite a bit. Who do you think is the next highest rated football team out of this list right here? Guys, somebody's got to lose the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Honestly, I feel like a Big Ten team, like a USC in this scenario, I feel like they maybe would be up there.
I think USC and Oregon should have a slash by them because I put those teams neck and neck.
I like that. So let's put them over here with a slash next to their name. The Fighting Dan Lannons.
Yeah, I feel better about that.
All right, so let's put them in at the 6 seed.
Okay.
We'll go USC / Oregon. God dang it, just flipping these colors is killing me. USC / Oregon. All right. So we got to take another SEC team right here. It's looking like. So we got USC and Oregon marked off the list. All right, I'm thinking we got to go somewhere. Ole Miss, Tennessee, Bama, or Mizzou right here moving forward. Right?
Yeah.
Those are the. Oh man. We got some teams matching up. We're gonna get an SEC versus SEC round 1, aren't we?
You're gonna. Yeah, I would say. I mean, and you're probably gonna get a rematch in round 1 as well.
Is the chat giving us any suggestions for other playoff teams? Other than the ones we got going right now.
The only other one people were kind of suggesting is Texas State. That was a name that they're floating out.
Okay, for a mid-major, but that doesn't help us out with the meat and potatoes of this discussion, which is who the hell is 5 through 11?
People are giving some love to Clemson, maybe a second ACC team getting in.
Okay, so let's knock off one of these SEC teams. You've already said Missouri, all right, that you like them. Of these 3 teams right here, of this 4 teams right here, I would rather feel safe. I would feel much safer about saying Missouri's out and those other 3 teams are in.
Yeah, but then you're saying Clemson's going to be over Missouri.
I think it's more likely that we have 2 ACC teams and 4 or 5 SEC teams than we have 1 ACC team and 7 SEC teams.
I mean, the entire reason I started this segment was it looks like the SEC might get 6 teams in this year.
I don't think the college football
I would say
is going to allow that to happen.
I would say Penn State's got a better chance than Clemson at this point.
Let's make a decision. Penn State or Clemson?
Give me a second.
What do you need for a second?
I want to look at the schedule.
Clemson's schedule is not that tough moving forward, especially considering what Florida State looks
put Clemson up there.
All right.
Put Clemson up there.
Clemson. We're going to put them at
the only potential loss I could see in the future for them right now would be against Miami in the ACC championship.
All right. Can we rotate one of these cameras over here to 2 while we sit back down?
We can just stay in 4 if you want.
That's fine. Come on, honey. Sorry. It's all good. Go. Make your case. Where are we going next?
I mean, you talk about, we've got to have 2 ACC teams. I don't think that matters. I think you're going to look at this at the end of the year, and you're going to have a lot of SEC teams. You're going to have way more SEC teams that are going to be better than the Clemsons and the Penn States of the world. I mean, we already saw Clemson get their brains beat in. So I'm going to say I think the teams you have on the board right now are the ones that are more apt to make the playoff than, forcing in a Penn State or a Clemson. I know it looks ugly to put 6 SEC teams in the bracket, but the way the season's gone so far, now granted there's 9 games left and that'll change, but
yeah, they're going to beat each other out is what I'm saying. There's not a possibility that all these teams are 10-2 by the end of the year. I'm going to say all trade losses. We got to make something shake here, guys. Let's do something here. Let's put Tennessee in at 10.
All right.
Okay. All right. Where are we sliding Bama in at 11? And we're going to say Missouri beats them. You're going to say Missouri beats them?
Well, have we put Missouri in already?
No. We'll put Mizzou down at 11. We're going to put Bama here at 8.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Which leaves, we've already, Ole Miss. We got Bama versus Ole Miss first round. That's week 3 playoff picture for us. Should we pick it?
We can, yeah. Might as well.
I got USC here.
/ Oregon.
/ Oregon, whatever. Mizzou's out. Give me Miami in that football game. Give me Tennessee here.
Do we believe that much in Miami?
Give it to me again. I do.
Oh, you think they'd beat Ohio State?
Yeah. I'm riding the Nico train just right now, week 3. Why not? Navy guys in the chat. We'll show some love.
I don't even think he's here to see this, but boy.
That's unfortunate for him. Let's go Bama over Ole Miss. Let's go Georgia over Bama. All right. We got Texas over both Boise and what a freaking draw for the 5 seed. I mean, you might as well just prefer the 5 seed. Give me Georgia over Texas again on a neutral field. Give me Tennessee over Miami. And give me Georgia over Tennessee in the national title.
So am I hearing you have Georgia beating Texas 3 times this season?
Based off the way that shakes out. Yeah, based off the way that shakes out. Yeah, that'd be kind of crazy.
I don't know how I feel how all that just played out, but
I think that was a chopped segment from the moment we got to the board, to be honest with you. But, sometimes you try shit. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Why do I keep the pen with me every time I leave that place? I don't understand that.
It's a good question. I can't tell you.
Kirby, I don't think they're going to allow 6 SEC teams to get into a college football playoff of 11 teams. I just don't think that's going to be plausible.
To be fair, we did say I don't think they're going to allow an undefeated conference champion to fall out of the top 4 last year, and it happened. We also said I don't think they're going to allow a 1 seed to drop outside of the top 4 as well.
I would say going into that football game, everybody said Georgia has to win or they're out.
I agree. But I mean, also from Florida State, everyone was talking about how if Florida State's undefeated and they win the conference championship, they're in. Now, obviously, external circumstances happen, but
I just think it's likely that one of those teams, whether it's Missouri, Bama, Tennessee, Ole Miss,
has 3 losses.
Yeah, that one of them is going to kind of fizzle out by the end of the year.
I agree with that.
That's kind of what history tells us.
I agree with that, but what we've seen of the 3 weeks of football, I mean, they're the top 12 teams. Out of the top 12 teams, 6 of them are SEC teams, and then you've got the 4 others by proxy of just you win your conference and you're in. So it makes sense to me right now. I don't think that's what the playoffs going to look like come November, but
it's Wednesday. You know what that means around here. It is indeed What If Wednesday. Guys, what if Florida State loses this weekend?
How hot is Mike Norvell's seat?
See, this is the funny part.
Because you said yesterday that he's fired.
Oh, I was in part kidding.
You were adamant, though.
I mean, I wasn't adamant. I did do some research because I can't find Mann's buyout clause. In fact, when I did my research on Mann's buyout clause down there at Florida State, I actually found that the school gave a reverse buyout clause, meaning if he left them for a bigger job, he'd have to pay them. I don't see a buyout clause for the remainder of his contract, and I've been trying to reach out to some people to get some type of clarification on this at some point, and I don't know if I'm going to get it. But if I were a Florida State fan, I'd be rather curious. I know this man is signed through 2031. He's going to make about $11 million through 2031, and that's quite a long time. The standard going rate right about now, he is a Jimmy Sexton client. The last several coaching buyout clauses that I've seen from Jimmy Sexton clients are 85% remaining contract.
Wow.
So you owe him, what is that? It's $11 million over 7 more years. You owe him $77 million. 85% of that's about $58 million.
Mm-hmm.
If that is indeed the buyout clause.
Yeah.
So it would get really, really hot really quickly
The thing about,
and it's plausible.
I mean, yeah, the thing about losing this weekend and starting the season 0-3 is at this point, every single game moving on out from here, you have to think that, yeah, it's possible that you lose that game. So you have no idea how much worse it could get from that point. Because if you lose to Memphis after losing to Boston College and Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech we kind of found out, okay, maybe not as great as we thought they were going to be after losing to Syracuse, it just kind of puts into question every single game moving forward. There's no, I wouldn't say that there's another guaranteed win at that point. You can't find me another game on the schedule unless there's another FCS team on the schedule. There's not a game on there where you just say, yeah, that's a win for Florida State.
Oh, this is a good point from the chat. I guess Florida State has started 0-3 under him before.
Mm-hmm. They started 0-4 under him in 2021.
Took an L to Jack State.
Jack State.
Jacksonville State, not Jack State. Which one would you, if I told you Jack State, are you thinking about Jackson State or Jacksonville State?
My mind always goes to Jacksonville State first.
Yeah. Wonder why that is.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
That was very weird.
What are you doing there? Where are we at? What ifs?
Yeah.
You got one for me?
Yeah. What if Bama's offense looks constipated for a second week in a row against Wisconsin? Do you start ringing fire alarms on them, or is it?
I don't know. I already milked my 35,000 views out of that offense, so I don't really care. No, I'm just kidding. I think people are going to do a lot of skepticism about more so Jalen Milroe, whether or not he's the guy, than whether or not DeBoer's offense is the guy. But I think eventually, if you keep struggling here in the Southeast, you're going to get some, I told you that shit wasn't going to work down here type of takes. I don't think we're at that point yet, obviously. No, you're right. It could create some stirring.
Here's just a wild analogy I thought of, and tell me what you think of it. Bama's offense this year reminds me of Tennessee's defense in 22, where it's very boom or bust. And when it's booming, it's holy shit, this looks great. And if it's busting, it's not like, it's like, wow, this looks like a train wreck right now. Now, obviously, comparing an offense to a defense is very hard to do, and Tennessee's 2022 defensive talent was much less than what Bama has on offense this year. But I think that it kind of reminds me of that when it's going good, it's going great, and if it's not going great, it's going very bad.
Here's the good news for Bama fans listening to this: bar some type of pick six, which pick sixes aren't going to happen with Jalen Milroe because he just going to run the dude down. Barring some type of pick six or turnover, I don't think there's any version of this football game where I see Wisconsin winning.
No, not at all.
So you can win this one 16-10. You can, but you just don't want to.
Yeah,
but you're right. The what if still remains. If they suck on offense, it's gonna start getting pretty loud pretty quickly around Milroe specifically first. What do you got for me?
What if South Carolina beats LSU and looks clean doing so?
I have the same note. We got
same note,
bro. Our you know what's are going to cycle up pretty closely if we're not careful. We need to stop spending so much time together.
Maybe we need to take a day off.
Same note. What if South Carolina handles LSU in this football game? I'm talking about like 28-17, kind of puts the brakes on them. Home field advantage, gets a little chaotic. LSU can't get out of their own way. A lot of penalties. 127th in the country right now in penalty margin. Like, it could happen. I
think at that point, I would like them in a matchup against Oklahoma. I would also like them. I think they would fare well at that point in a game against Missouri. And I think those are two games that heading into the season, I was like, Oklahoma, Missouri, sorry, South Carolina. I think it completely changes kind of this narrative around this football team if they handle LSU this weekend.
Not enough likes in the chat right now. Not enough likes. What do you got for me?
Well, I was going to say, I would take this the opposite way, and this would just affirm that LSU's not a good football team this year. You go in, you blow it against USC. I mean, now we think USC is a much better football team than they were. You kind of struggle against Nicholls State, gave up 20 points, only scored 40 against that, and then you go into South Carolina and you get beat. That's three pretty ugly performances on Brian Kelly's record to start the year, and I think that would indicate that LSU might not be the team we thought they were coming in.
All right, Kirby, I'm putting you in charge of the Film Guy Network, Brooks Austin Curse, and when it is delved out and when it is lifted. Okay, I think that's your job and your role. I think you're quickest to identify these things with regards to, Brooks said something about them, now they suck. Definitely South Carolina and Shane Beamer under the curse of I'd play for that guy right about now, right? At what point does that curse get lifted by you?
I would say that curse gets lifted if they beat LSU.
So we got some stakes.
Because I think
is what I'm hearing, baby.
Because I think if you beat LSU after what you did at Kentucky, like even if you have a really poor showing through the rest of the 3 quarters of this season, Shane Beamer's probably got enough momentum to at least get him to 2025, unless you get absolutely murdered in your next 9 games. Which, if you're beating LSU, you're probably not. So
I'm gonna tell you what, I did watch a lot of South Carolina defense today because I was watching that putrid Kentucky offense. They are havoc creating, if anything. They can get after you, and it's not just because they got 2 really good edge rushers in Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart. They also have really good interior defensive line play that can get upfield and get after the quarterback. My question is, are they susceptible to explosive runs against good offenses? We'll find that out this weekend. But LSU's run game ain't like that. You know what I mean? I think when we did the map it out yesterday, I strictly encouraged you to hammer the under here. I'm staying on that. I think this is a big-time low-scoring game.
Yeah, they got good guys in the secondary. They got Nick and Manwari, and they also have Jalen Kilgore, and then Bama and Scott, good linebacker as well. They got some dudes on that defense, and I think that's
play hard.
Being a havoc defense's best-case scenario for them.
Was Dylan Stewart a hyped recruit? Yeah. 5-star. At one point, the number 1 overall player on some of the ranking systems. Shane's done this. Okay, Shane will do this. Every class, it seems, he'll go get a Nick Harbor, and he'll go get a Dylan Stewart. It looks to me so far that he has kind of swung and missed on at least the usage of Nick Harbor. It looks like he's hit a damn home run into the triple deck with Dylan Stewart. So he tends to do this, and he did it well last class with a home run hit in Dylan Stewart. Who's got some what ifs?
I've got one. What if Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway both play very, very well against Texas A&M on Saturday, but Florida loses?
Oh, man, you're immediately throwing the biggest kerfuffle into the mix right now. I guess a Florida fan's head explodes in their mom's basement.
Because you got to then...
You just don't know what to do at that point.
Right, because you can obviously... You have something to blame the loss of, if we'd have gone with... blank.
Oh, no. They lost by defense. Austin Armstrong's fired.
Okay.
Cop out.
Yeah, cop out. Fire Austin Armstrong immediately.
My question about the Florida game was, what if Florida beats Texas A&M with DJ Lagway being the main reason? I'm not asking this, and obviously I think at that point you'd start shifting to DJ Lagway becomes your starter. But does that change your feelings at all about Florida if they have this explosive playmaker at quarterback? Like now, that'd be 2 weeks in a row where DJ Lagway has basically helped carried Florida to a victory. I know the first one was Sanford, but doing it against an SEC opponent this next time, would that change your opinion at all at the outlook of that season?
Certainly would. For the outlook of the season or the outlook of Billy Napier's
Well, like
future?
I think at that point for me, it would be, I'm not really concerned about UCF anymore. I like DJ Lagway in that matchup better. And then USF, same thing. I see
what you're saying.
Like some games that were questions now, I wouldn't be questioning as much.
Massey ratings definitely giving a bump.
Yeah. What it would do for me is it would bring my expectations back to where they were before the season started. We all kind of had this expectation of,
competitively 5-7.
Yeah, Florida's going to be competitive. They're going to be talented enough to stay in a lot of these games, but they're still going to go 5-7 just because it's slate. We saw what they did against Miami. They came out, they looked flat. The players didn't look motivated. It looked like no one really wanted to play for Billy Napier. It was like, well, this could get very ugly. They might just be giving up on him flat out.
Official medical reports just dropped.
Ooh, the first ones.
Yeah. I'm going to send this to one of y'all. Y'all get this written up. I'll read it right now. Roger Robinson listed as out. Michael Williams listed as doubtful. Jordan Hall listed as questionable. Xavier McLeod, questionable. Warren Brinson, questionable. I see 8 names listed as out for Kentucky. 2 names listed as doubtful and a questionable on Kentucky's. Oh, my God. Kentucky's list is long. Very, very long. Even some probables in there. Yeah, just about like I thought. No information out of that.
Yeah.
None.
Nothing we didn't already know.
I hope the gamblers can get something out of it because you as a layman fan definitely didn't. So there's that. So Jay Will's going to be preoccupied for the next couple of minutes. Kirby, what if Jackson Arnold and that Oklahoma offense struggle for another week against Tulane?
I think the marriage of, hey, we got the right guy.
You go ISO yourself, by the way.
Oh, shit, I can't.
Yeah. I do want to get one what if in. Before you guys can keep talking.
Get off.
Okay. All right. Let me ask this. What if Billy Napier, Sam Pittman, Shane Beamer all keep their jobs and Brent Venables and Mike Norvell are the ones that lose their jobs?
Whoa!
Ooh, that's a hot one.
That's a what if right there. I don't think Mike Norvell's getting fired.
Yeah, but it's what if. What if they do?
I just don't. I don't think this is the year to do that.
It's the hypothetical. Yeah. The point of this is a hypothetical.
Yeah, but
Brooks, you're supposed to talk about if it actually could happen. If like how this could actually play out.
Oh, it would be chaos. It would be definitely something that we didn't expect, right? We definitely thought that's an alternate timeline. That's an alternate existence. I would feel like I'm watching ESPN The Ocho. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, Florida State is the new prettiest job in this hunt. We all kind of think Florida is going to be at the end of the season, but Florida State takes that title, and does Lane Kiffin take that job? I mean, we all kind of assume Lane Kiffin's going to be.
Should we just transition to Lane Kiffin right now?
We can.
Let's just go ahead and do this. It's already a good, smooth transition in the show. We're going to jack the show notes up and go ahead and talk about this. That's what everybody's talking about, right? Is Lane going to go to Florida? Florida is a very advantageous job for a guy like Lane Kiffin, you would imagine. It sounds like higher end boosters that may have stuck their nose up to the idea of potentially hiring Kiffin 24 months ago are now open to the idea because they've seen just how bad it can be when you hire Bayou Billy. All right, so now there is some openness to the idea that Lane Kiffin might be going to the University of Florida or could potentially be hired by the University of Florida. Now, that on top of that, Jay, I know you're busy. Who's our podcast that gave us this cockamamie soundbite?
This is the where'd it go?
The Joe Schmo
Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
The Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning was out here talking about how apparently there's rumors that Lane Kiffin is approaching high school recruits with this question: would you commit to me and not commit to my university? In other words, saying, hey, if you commit to playing for me, would you commit to playing for me if I were somewhere else next year? Whether or not that is true, it's led the internet into some chaotic, conspiracy theories. Everybody's spinning off, where's Lane Kiffin going? Is Lane Kiffin out? Is Lane Kiffin out? And in normal, quintessential Lane Kiffin style, what does he do? He throws fire onto it today by tweeting out a shirt, a photo of a shirt that says in big letters, size matters. Right underneath it, it says The Last Dance, which has now made the internet run with, is Lane Kiffin telling us this is his last year coaching in Oxford?
I mean, your gut reaction is this, isn't it? Like, he wouldn't just blatantly say, like, hey, this is my last year in Oxford without coming out and saying it. But then again, you ask, why else would he post this? Why else would he stir up this kind of rumor and get this much traction unless he wants a major extension?
I know why.
Why?
It is the literal last dance for 3/4 of this roster. I think this is something they're embracing as a unit. Check this out. It could be this. It could be him trolling. It could be whatever. It could be Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin. Or it could be something that this team has identified together. This idea of a last dance. Listen to these names. Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, the tight end Prescorn, Juice Wells, 3/5 of their offensive line. They have 9 seniors on the defensive side of the football, plus Walter Nolan. Okay, all of those names in which I just mentioned, which is about 75% of their starting offense and defense on both sides of the football, they're in their literal last dance. They are playing their last year of college football. Okay, it is it. This is literally their last dance. And if you are indeed all in, right? If your chips are pushed all in, I think there is something to be said about looking each other in the eye and identifying it as a unit. About saying, hey, look, guys, we are, in fact, all in. This is it for us. This is the only window of opportunity that we're ever going to have. This is our last dance, our last time. So why not look each other in the eye, make it known that, hey, this is the pressure. This is the reality of the situation that we are in. We are all in right now on this football team. Last dance. Let's go get it.
I love this theory, and I love kind of that it's probably the truth of we're trying to get that culture of Ole Miss. We've got a lot of guys that are mercenaries. Here we are together in our last opportunity. The problem is then you didn't think of the last dance and realize that Phil Jackson also left after that quote-unquote last dance season. So, I mean, it very well could be this is a roster thing, this is a culture thing, but Lane Kiffin could very much well be throwing his name in this as well, saying, hey, it's my last dance too. Let's all go in together as an Ole Miss team because next year this shit's getting blown up.
Solid-ass theory. I think it's the team identifying this as a whole. That being said, he would 100% leave Ole Miss to coach Lagway at Florida.
1,000,000%.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't even bat an eye.
Not at all.
Wouldn't even feel bad about it. We'll probably get a raise to do so.
For sure.
And by the way, Lagway, I think at that point would be kind of silly to leave Florida. Don't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
as long as the money's right.
Right.
That's the reality.
And you'd have
as long as the money's right, you'd be kind of silly to leave Florida if Lane Kiffin's coming to your doorsteps. He's perfect. You're Jackson Dart on steroids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
and you got what, another year of him or 2?
Shit, you got 2 because he's going to play in more than 4 games this year now. right?
Yeah.
So you got 2 years before that kid's draft eligible to really maximize what he's got. And like I said, you think Jackson Dart's put up numbers in this offense? My God. Lagway would he eat?
That was actually part of my What If Wednesday question that goes back to this. What if Lane Kiffin takes this Florida job? How ugly do things get in Oxford then? Because like you said, like we have said, and you pointed out, this is the last dance for a lot of this roster. If you combine the roster leaving and then you lose your head coach, which has kind of elevated this program to a level that they hadn't seen since the Hugh Freeze era,
And if we're being honest, hasn't Lane Kiffin, I mean, we'll see what he does this year, but hasn't he kind of reached the pinnacle of what Ole Miss football can be?
Yeah. We'll find out what the true
especially if you look at the window to win a national title. If he doesn't do it this year, he's got to make another perfect roster somehow. Right? He's got to go out and find a Jackson Dart out of the transfer portal that's got 3 years of eligibility, or hope that the lefty that he signed a couple years ago, the Simmons kid, is the real deal. There's a bunch of hoping after this at Ole Miss, where if you're going to start with a fresh slate, why not start with an entirely new fresh slate down there in Florida? That's my only thought there.
Yeah.
So people people listening to this might be pushing back, thinking, is that a lateral move? I would push back on that and say no. I think that's an upgrade in coaching position going from Ole Miss to Florida. It's
a downgrade from where you will start.
Correct.
Because the Florida program's in shambles right now.
Is it though?
It can get turned around quickly. The potential is so much higher to grow.
His entire offseason at Ole Miss next year is going to be finding a new roster.
Right.
His entire roster has to get turned over again.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Florida and turn theirs over. You're going to turn one over anyways. Why not turn a new one over? You see what I'm saying? With DJ Lagway, with a known thing at the quarterback position.
Yeah, it's probably not as much of a downgrade as you're thinking. The potential for Florida to grow and be a much better program is higher.
I think it's an upgrade.
Yeah, definitely in the long term.
You got Eugene Wilson. You got DJ Lagway. You got the young safety up there. You got some pieces in those commitment, recruiting classes. I mean, right now, if you looked up the high school recruiting rankings, I guarantee you, say what you want about Florida, I guarantee they're recruiting at the high school level better right now than Ole Miss is.
Most likely.
So he's going. I think it's an upgrade in terms of next year's job, in terms of what the roster looks like. I could see it happening. Kirby, who you got going off this weekend?
Who do I got going off?
Give me three. Give me three guys you got going off this week.
So the first one, I've got Diego Pavia, quarterback for Vanderbilt. They're going to Georgia State. I really like what I've seen from Vanderbilt for the first two games. It's something that...
You've been grinding Vandy tape, huh?
Well, I watched that Virginia Tech game start to finish, and then I kind of paid attention for their next week. It was a nobody team, but still, seeing Vandy start out 2-0 with the potential to go 3-0 against Georgia State, team I always pay attention to just because. But I really like this quarterback, and I really think that he has a chance to go off in Atlanta. What do you got? Do you want me to just go all three down?
Yeah, give me all three. Drag it out if you can.
Jackson Dart at Wake Forest. Yeah. I think he's got a lot of potential there. I know people are kind of saying, hey, this might be a sneaky game.
Hey, sold out crowd for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah. How volatile is that Demon Deacon crowd, and how much of a home field advantage can you get from that? I'm not exactly sure. I also trust a veteran quarterback in this situation. This isn't Athens, Georgia. This isn't Tuscaloosa, Alabama. This isn't Death Valley at night.
Sam Hartman ain't walking through that door.
Nope. So I think Jackson Dart has a very much Jackson Dart needs to have his conversation, has his name in the conversation for Heisman this year type of performance. And then my third one, Garrett Nussmeier against South Carolina. I think we are really the
Nuss a bus.
Yep. I think we're really giving a lot of credit to South Carolina's pass rush. I think we have done so because what we've seen against a Old Dominion team and a Kentucky team that you agree is very, very bad. I think we're kind of overestimating, especially with these two tackles that LSU have. I think they're going to be able to not completely keep him safe, not make it he's untouched in the pocket, but he'll have enough time to make enough good decisions on this team. I don't know if they win the game, but I do think he is a very, very good game.
I think if Nuss goes off, they win. Who do you got? Who's going off this weekend?
Oh, I get to get back in the show. Let's go. Man. All right, my first
Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
I think that was like 6.5 minutes.
Can't copy and paste them, apparently, so got to do it. Just type it all out.
Kirby just making it difficult.
Good heads up on that one. First one I got, Ryan Williams, Alabama wide receiver. I mean, he is explosiveness right alongside of Jalen Milroe and the running backs that they have. I think it's going to be a big weekend for him against Wisconsin. Number 2, Mario Anderson. Name might sound familiar because it should. Played at South Carolina, is now the running back at Memphis. Florida State ranks 122nd in the country for rushing yards allowed. He also had 125 yards against Troy in week 1. Mario Anderson might be going off against the Florida State Seminoles. And then number 3, I mean, I just got to do it. I have to do it. Malik Murphy, I think he's going to go off. I think he's going against UConn, all right? I think he can put up some big numbers. UConn ranks 113th for passing defense, has allowed an average of 268 yards per game through the air. And I think he looked really good at the tail end of that game against Northwestern. I think he started getting dialed in a little bit. I see him being really comfortable this week against UConn.
Have you adopted the next Duke quarterback as your team?
No. I can't get attached again.
Bro, if there's everyone to get attached, it's Malik Murphy over Riley Leonard, my guy. One's got talent.
No.
Wow. Ooh.
I mean, who's more talented? Malik Murphy or Riley Leonard?
I don't know.
Malik Murphy.
I don't know.
Dude's just leaning into anti-Tate guy over there.
Gotta watch film.
Just trying to make me mad today. I got 3 guys going off. You ready to hear them? They're 3 easy picks right here.
Rattle them off.
Number 3, Dylan Gabriel. Can we hit some naked receivers, please? Can we hit something that's wide open? I think this is the week he gets it right. By the way, too good of a football player to play this bad. All right. I think last week was an anomaly. I think this week they get right against Oregon State, at least offensively. Defensively, they got to get right on the explosives department because they have given it up on the defensive side of the football. We talked about it last night. Kansas State, the wrong football team to be playing this week in Arizona when you suck at stopping the pass. Kansas State, one of the worst in Power 5 football, probably the worst in Power 5 football through 2 weeks against explosive plays through the air. McMillan and them boys from the Fighting Fafitas are not the ones. Okay, I got McMillan going for 300 plus for, by the way, the second football game this year. Already got a 300 on the game logs. I see it again happening this week. And I talked again about this last night. They've been stowing up whatever goods they got out there in Missouri. I think Missouri is primed for a flexing of the muscles. And the biggest muscle they got is Luther Burden. I got Luther Burden going off for at least $150 this weekend. All right, at least $150 this weekend.
Two of those
Boston College.
2 of those names are just names I think are ones that's like it hasn't hit yet, and you just keep betting until it does because you know at some point it will. So yeah, I like those picks.
It's like sitting at the roulette table and you're like, you know what? Red's hit 5 times in a row. It's time to hit on black. You know what? And then it hits double green. You crap out.
Shit happens.
Shit sucks.
It be like that, man.
It do be like that. That's why when you're at the roulette table, you always got to sprinkle a little lettuce on double zeros. Right there in between the 0 and the double 0.
Every time?
Just one every time. It's a safety net, man. Because once it hits, I think it's like 35-1. Just, we rich, bitch. And then you get up out. That kind of thing.
Good to know. Thanks for the advice.
Absolutely. That was a quick national hour.
We've got an article up.
I thought you had a top 5 for us.
How are you going to forget the show notes?
We rattled the show notes. That's why. We got all tissy-tossied around the show notes. We got a lawsuit to talk about. Denard Robinson and Braylon Edwards suing the NCAA and the Big Ten for a collective $50 million. This is one of those lawsuits you're going to see a lot of. Now the NIL's around, and now that they've allowed pay, and now that they're going to open the door to revenue-sharing models and things like that. You got a lot of famous football players, a lot of football players from years past going, hey, y'all are paying these kids. When y'all gonna pay us? Because y'all robbed us of our time. I'm getting in on this action. So guys like Denard Robinson, guys like Braylon Edwards are now suing the NCAA and suing the Big Ten again for a lawsuit of $50 million. Now, I don't think they have a lot of grounds here. I do think they have grounds in one department, and only the Denard Robinsons of the world have this. Only the Aaron Murrays of the world have this. Only the David Pollocks of the world have this. If you're a legend and you were a legend before they were able to pay you for your legendary status, and they're still using your legendary status on television copies like the Big Ten Network showing highlights of Denard Robinson during the Texas-Michigan game, buddy, you need to be paying that guy. You need to be giving him a licensing fee for his likeness because you didn't give it to him when he was playing, and you're still using it because he was indeed that big of a legend. If that's the case, I do think they have some grounds in these lawsuits. Outside of that, buddy, I'm sorry. You're SOL. It's just one of those things. It's like saying, I don't have a metaphor for this. It's like telling your mom, hey, you bought my brother some new shoes, so I need new shoes too. Or, hey, my brother's 16 years old. He got a new car. I get a new car too. No, that's not how that works. You're 12 years old. Get out of here.
As my dad would say, life is not fair.
No.
Get used to it.
Life is not fair. Oh, I know. This is a perfect example. It's like all you yahoos that are mad about student loans getting reimbursed when you had to pay yours off.
There it is.
That's what it is.
That's the home run right there.
Buddy, Dad, I'm sorry. When you went to your Division II school, it cost you $4,000 a year, $2,000 a semester. I just took a loan out for $35,000 to get through a year of school. It's a little bit different than your time. All right, a little bit different. So yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of these coming up. The Athletic apparently wrote a good article.
They did. So I
don't know why I said that as if I was surprised. My bad, Athletic writers. Those of you that still exist.
Yeah, that's kind of harsh. So obviously,
which one?
What? Which one?
Not that I took 2 jabs there. You weren't paying attention.
I was trying to get going on the segment.
My bad. Go.
So obviously, we saw NIU beat Notre Dame this weekend, and that inspired one of the authors from The Athletic. Let me get his name up real quick. To write an article and kind of remind people why David Ubben is his name. Remind people why college football is superior to the NFL. And he basically talks about how the passion, all the things that you've heard before. But there was a quote from this that really stood out to me. He says, "Every single weekend, some team is playing in a game that the players will remember for the rest of their lives." There isn't this in the NFL. When we see crazy upsets that are unlikely, yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, it's a big talking point for that weekend. But it doesn't live on in history. The 2007 Appalachian State-Michigan game lives on in App State fans' history forever. We see this all the time. When the Browns killed the Patriots in 2010, that was a big story for the week of, Peyton Hillis, all this. That's not something that Browns fans talk about daily or weekly, and you say, hey, do you remember that? It doesn't happen in the NFL as much like it does in college football. And the final quote I took away from this was, no matter what happens this season, for the rest of Hammock's run at NIU, reality is decades from now, people will still be talking about the time their beloved Huskies walked into Notre Dame Stadium, kicked a 35-yard field goal to win, and blocked a 62-yard prayer to beat it.
Bars from The Athletic. Bars.
So
my boy Ubben.
Ubben what?
Get it? Like my boy Hoopin', my boy Ubben.
That was a stretch, honestly.
Come on, man.
But no, it just reiterated to me that yes, the NFL is the cream of the crop when it comes to football, and yes, the Super Bowl is the biggest sporting event in America, and college football's national championship kind of doesn't compare to that. But you have surprise Super Bowls throughout the season that we don't expect, that makes the sport so great. This was NIU Super, and I know that's such a cliche thing to say, and you use that kind of talk down about an opponent that beats you, but this was NIU Super Bowl. This is a game that people are going to talk about for 25 years from now, and no one expected it coming. You didn't come into this game thinking, hey, whatever happens today is going to be monumental for our program. It's going to live on in our hearts as fans forever.
Great article. Gives me the warm and fuzzies about college football. You want to know what gives me the warm and fuzzies about this football show?
What does?
Top fives, baby. Top fives with OLIs.
Top
5 reasons college football is better than the NFL. And of course, I'm going to give you them OLIs. This show eats, sleeps, lives, and breathes off OLIs. OLI number 1, Surrender Cobras. Surrender Cobras are so much better in college football. I don't think there's a funnier image on national television on a Saturday afternoon than seeing some 21-year-old frat boy in the front row just absolutely piss-hammered drunk, just miserable about his football team losing by 35 points. It just ain't nothing better. We don't get these in the NFL. These Surrender Cobras in college are way, way better than NFL football.
The Surrender Cobras in the NFL almost make you kind of like, dude, come on, you're 45. And I get it. Believe me, I'll be that way when I'm 45. But seeing a college student go through that is kind of funny because that they have created their entire identity around that sports team. They go to that school, they live there, they live in that town, they probably interact with some of the players. So seeing that is much more critical to me.
I think my favorite Surrender Cobras are the college-age girls in the stands that clearly have no idea what just happened, but they know that something bad just happened.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, people are sad. I should be sad.
Now let's be fair.
I have no idea what just happened.
Hey,
tackle him. Wait, score.
There's college-age guys doing that as well. Let's be
sure. Absolutely.
OLI number 2, live mascots.
Elite.
Elite. Shout out to the boy Ugga. Shout out to the Weagle War Damn Eagle out there. Shout out to all the live mascots. Shout out to my boys over there with the Buffaloes. You know what I mean? Shout out to the spear chucking Indian that's standing on top of that horse down there in Florida State. Why are you making me a face like that?
Nothing.
Is he not indeed an Indian?
I'm more confused.
Does he not indeed chuck a spear?
He's a Seminole.
Seminole, which is a form of an Indian. What are we doing here? Why'd you make that face on me?
I'm more confused why you made a crow noise for an eagle.
Yeah,
what's an eagle sound like?
It's much higher pitched.
Yeah, it's like a screech.
Yeah.
That's on me. Live mascots. I need it. I think they add an additional value to the sport and definitely to the broadcast. Number 5, top 5 reasons college football is better than the NFL. Number 5, passion. It simply means more. And it's not just the SEC. That environment we saw in Nebraska last week, I think apart from Arrowhead, I just don't know if you get that, if that's available to you in the professional ranks. College football fans and college football players, in my opinion, just care a little bit more about that game. They live and die a little bit more on each and every down. Number 4 reason college football is better than professional football, the bands. They just bring a different environment to the sport. You know what I mean? Their ability to make the stadium hype on key third downs and just getting it piped in on the television broadcast just makes it so much better. I think the quantity of quality games is higher on the college football ranks, and I think you get them when you least expect them, right? I think I can go into a Sunday lineup and go, that game's gonna suck, no chance I'm watching that game's gonna be a blowout. I feel like there's a little bit more of a predictability with regards to the watchability of NFL football games. There's no such thing with college football. The unpredictability of when the sweater will occur is beautiful. It's what makes me love this sport. One of the many reasons I love this sport. Number 2 reason why college football is better than the NFL ranks, the gameplay. Just how the game works. The wider hashes, the 3.5 yard rule on the line of scrimmage downfield, right? The ability to run RPOs, the ability to be a fast-paced no-huddle offense, the ability to play a little bit faster pace of a style of football. I think the gameplay in college is so much better. And the number 1 reason that college football is better than NFL football, the in-stadium environment. I think NFL stadiums, apart from the really, really old ones that probably are being begged to be rebuilt by the owners that own those football teams, the difference is I feel like NFL stadiums have too much shit around them.
It's a bunch of corporate bullshit.
Just way too much interaction, way too many bells and whistles. I walked through SoFi over there in LA.
Not SoFi.
Bro, no, not SoFi at all. What needs to be done for college football stadiums, I need a metal bench, concrete, that's it. I don't want people comfortable sitting down because they ain't supposed to be sitting down. They're supposed to be standing up, yelling they face off, and if their team's getting their ass beat, they should be leaving, go getting hammered in the parking lot. That's it. You got too much going on, too much corporate crap around NFL football teams. College football, way better.
College football stadiums have so much more of a soul than NFL stadiums. You go to an NFL stadium, it's like
every stadium is Fenway Park.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can feel the history when you walk in. You can think, games have been played here for 70, 80 years. Think about all the things that happen. You go into the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Super nice stadium. Been there a bunch of times. It's a great environment, but you don't feel something special when you go.
Just some loud-ass horn.
You want to hear my top 5?
Oh, you did
got
a top 5?
Duh, I did a top 5. Come on.
I didn't know we were all doing top 5.
I can go over real quick. First one. No OLIs.
It's a tight 5.
No OLIs.
It's a tight 5.
Bigger stadiums.
Yes.
More noise, better environments. That's got to be on the list for me. More games available to you. If one game sucks, and especially for this reason, when 1 o'clock hits on a Sunday, whatever team is local to you, unless you pay for some other subscription service or anything like that, that's what you got.
Unless you're rich with Red Zone.
Yeah, things like that. But that's what you got.
Hot take, I don't love Red Zone. I think the NFL swindled you into thinking you like Red Zone because you get to actually see what's happening in all the games, whereas if they're all broadcast on TV, you'd like that much more.
What a tangent I did not expect today.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, more games available to you. Like if there's a game that sucks at noon on a Saturday, you can go find yourself another one. And there's so many different channels available to you that you can watch all kinds of different games. The pregame shows, the build up into every single game, whether it's the Big Ten Network doing their own thing, SEC Network, College Game Day, whatever. The pregame shows are so much better than what Fox gives you. Like it's just like, here's the injury report. This is what we like. We're going to preview the matchup. The energy and everything about it is so much better. Boy,
Jay Glazer's head sure is round. On to you.
Better personalities, like the Biff Poggies, the Mike Gundys, the Lane Kiffins, the Mike Leaches of the world. There are so many better personalities in college football than there are the NFL. And then I guess it's my number one. I didn't really rank these. I just kind of listed them out. No agenda, just ball. There's no contract holdouts for players in college football. It's just, hey, I show up, I come and play football for the team that I committed to. Now, you have some other things that go on, of course, with outside noise, but for the most part, it's just show up and play ball.
Love it. We nailed that last hour. About 50 minutes in, I was like, are we going to make it to the 9 o'clock clock? We did.
You're always doubting us, man.
I know. That's on me. Stretch it, baby. Stretch it. We got a whole other hour coming up right now, and it's a loaded one.
Oh, I need the mouse. Oh. There we go.
What? Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grab some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into the Film Guy Network as I respond to a few comments on our Texas film study. It was a great time doing that, man. I always love watching Sark. It's good stuff over there. All right, got a loaded local hour for you guys. We got player props, Kentucky offensive notes. Is this the toughest three-game stretch available on Georgia's schedule? We'll tell you why or why not. Why didn't Brock and a certain other school happen during this offseason in a transfer portal time period? And of course, it's Wednesday. Georgia plays this weekend. We've got to map it out and a prediction segment coming up for you guys at the end of tonight's show. But I want to open with this right here because I said something yesterday, boys.
What'd you say?
I said something that got the chat a little bit perturbed, and I said something that had the chat thinking that, you know, Brooks is out here just saying shit, placating to other fan bases. I said that Alabama, I dared to have the opinion that Alabama's top three linebackers, I would take them. I think they're as good or better than any other core in the entire country. And then I said they are better. And then the chat was like, whoa, wait about Georgia. And they pushed me back on it. And I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm hammering it down. I like those three guys. I love what Georgia's got going on, obviously. But in terms of just, hey, if you had to rank them 1 through 5, where would these guys fall? How many of them would be from one in particular team? So here's what I got. I actually ranked them 1 through 6. Number 1, I got Jahad Campbell. If you haven't seen this guy's tape, you need to watch it. All right. I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick. He is like Quay Walker if Quay was like born to play inside linebacker instead of outside linebacker. CJ Allen, number 2. Everybody knows why. Number 3, I got Justin Jefferson. The way this dude is hunting the football right now for Alabama is terrifying. I thought the targeting call was a little bit bullshit. Number 4, I've got Smile Mondon. Number 5, I got Raylan Wilson. Number 6, I've got Deontay Lawson. Now, I checked with both staffs today. All right, reached out to Alabama, reached out to Georgia, had this conversation with them. Hey, I said this on last night's show. People balked at me. What the hell's going on? All right, am I right? Am I thinking am I crazy for thinking this highly of Alabama's roster? So first and foremost, reached out to Georgia. All right, sent them the list. This is how I got it going on. First and foremost, the first note I got back: Campbell is indeed special. Georgia thinks of Jahad Campbell just like I think of Jahad Campbell. They think he's an NFL football player. By the way, they recruited him out of high school, pretty wrapped up really quickly over there with Alabama. All right, Smile. Immediate note: Smile way too low. All right, Georgia much higher on Smile than even I was. I think we're splitting hairs, by the way. After number 1, I think you can go anybody 2 through 6. I just feel solidly that Jahad Campbell, in my opinion, is the best of all of them. So Smile, way too low. The other one, they love Justin Jefferson coming out of high school. Georgia was heavy on him in the recruitment process. That was a name until I went and studied it this year that I was unaware of. Not a nationally touted, highly recruited linebacker. What a 5-star that everybody was battling over. This was a guy that kind of went relatively under the radar in terms of a national limelight at the linebacker position, as most of them do. Sent this over to Alabama. The immediate response I got was, we're waiting until we play those guys to see them again before we're out here giving opinions. But they indeed doubled down on the fact that they thought Smile Mondon was a little bit too low. So the only guy I was apparently sleeping on was Smile. Smile should be 1 or 2 was the general consensus reaction. So yes, indeed, Brooks was wrong. We'll take that. We'll take that. Brooks was wrong by a thin hairline.
Yeah.
I still think Jahad Campbell's the best of them.
Well, the funny thing is when you rank the rooms, you had more Georgia players higher than more Bama players.
Correct. But number 1 was the importance. All right, because you only play 2 of them in both of these defenses. So having the best one's kind of important. We all would agree. Some of the chat's already throwing up, hey, where's Jalen Walker? I left Jalen Walker out of the equation, no different than I left Quay Rousseau out of the question for Alabama. They are hybrid football players. They're playing both outside linebacker and inside linebacker.
So you feel... I guess you came away from this one not feeling vindicated or, I was wrong. Just kind of.
I felt vindicated that Jihad Campbell, I'm seeing that right, that everybody thinks that guy's a dude, including NFL scouts that I spoke to about this discussion today. So everybody kind of knows, was well determined that this guy is going to be a dude. I think he's only a true sophomore out there at Alabama right now, so a long way to go for him as well. But yeah, the guy that I was sleeping on was indeed Smile Monda. So that's on me.
Maybe partially due to the fact that majority of last season he was injured.
Correct.
So kind of hard to remember what a healthy Smile looks like.
And we're seeing it. We're seeing glimpses of it. I think the other thing that I got caught up on this is the fact that Alabama plays 3 guys and Georgia plays 4. So I see more of the guys that I think are really, really good at Alabama just based off playing time than I do from guys that play from Georgia. So sorry, I'm not sorry. Yeah, that kind of thing. Welcome into tonight's local hour. Like I said, we do indeed have a loaded one for you through the read earlier. We're going to bring it back. Shout out to our friends over at Better. If you have not already, head over to Better right now using the link in the description of the bio or of the description of this video. All right, and you'll get a 100% deposit match over there using promo code Brooks. Better now offers college football props. Enter more than or less than key stats on college football players. You can now play in up to 23 states, including the state of Georgia. Matching first-time deposits up to $250 if you use the promo code Brooks. It's a good one. You see all the information right there on the screen that you need. Get over there right now. Play some better picks, man. Get that first-time deposit bonus, man. It's big time. Use that promo code Brooks. Help the show out. Support those who support us. We also have a player prop segment coming up a little bit later, but I think first and foremost, we ought to hit these film notes.
I'd like to hit some film notes.
You like film notes?
Yeah.
Let's do the film notes. All right. I did the Kentucky offensive film. And Jonathan, you were here in the studio with us today. We're on to hour 4 of content. I think that's probably why I feel like I'm exhausted. We're in hour 4 of content today, and I didn't do Kentucky service because I watched that Kentucky film after I watched Steve Sarkeesian. And I don't even know how. This would be like eating the finest steak you've ever eaten in your life and then palate cleansing it with like Clorox, you know? Yeah. Or palate cleansing it with like apple cider vinegar. You know what I mean? So just something putrid. Going from, damn, that was so good. I could eat a whole nother meal of that. And then you get sat down with just some
It's
just
like
some hot dog water.
It was like smelling the bottle of vanilla extract, but then tasting it like, oh, that was not as good as it was at first.
It's a good comp.
It's the opposite of sitting down at one of those hibachi restaurants where you eat a delicious hibachi meal. You feel like you need to be rolled out of there, and they're like, hey, you want some sherbet? And I'm like, do I want some sherbet? Hell yeah, baby. Yes. You know me. This is the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
This is like, do you want more vegetables? No, I don't. Give me the sherbet. This was awful. This was not fun to watch at all. They are not even close, in my opinion, to the Kentucky standard with what we've become accustomed to from the offensive line position, particularly outside of the center. I think the center is relatively decent. I think the center is a pretty good football player based off of what I saw on tape. But the rest of those guys, they're not as big, they're not as athletic, they're not as violent, and most importantly, they're not as strong. All right, I've never thought Kentucky is just loaded down 5 NFL football players. But what I've always thought is that you're not going to be able to push them backwards. You might be able to out-athlete them, slant stunt game them a little bit and run around them or do whatever. But you're not going to run through Kentucky's offensive line. That is not the case nowadays. I have seen Kentucky offensive linemen over the last 2 weeks get put on their rumps. All right, and that's not good. And I think that's going to happen a lot on Saturday. They are, however, the same Kentucky football team offensively, just out of the pistol. And I made a point to ask Kirby this question this weekend because I wanted to know how different do you think they are? Because I don't think they're any different. All right. In fact, when I sat down in that film study today, sitting at this desk before we went over there, I said, I ain't even looked at this. I know what I'm going to see. I'm going to see quarterback running. I'm going to see 12 personnel attached tight ends. Sure as shit. Walk over there. About half the snaps, would you say, Jonathan? About half the snaps attached to tight ends, 12 personnel. It's the same damn team. They're just out of pistol. All right. So you're going to see the same stuff. Real duo heavy in the run game, and they want to run the ball. It's the same exact kind of structure and offensive philosophy and core identity in terms of what we've seen for year after year after year. Brock was pressured to the point on Saturday where he was seeing ghosts. I feel I feel kind of bad for Brock in the sense that, like, I don't even know how you're going to be able to grow. And it's like, the guy's going to need reps. Well, the reps aren't even going to be clean. The reps are going to be chaotic. The reps are going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. The reps are going to be, we don't have a lot of answers. The reps are going to be, we don't have a coordinator who's helping you out all the time. The reps are going to be chaotic. And I don't know if that's great for the growth of a young football player, especially that's under this much pressure. Like I said, the coordinator, in my opinion, doesn't do a very good job of helping this guy out, okay? Or helping his offense out in general. And they're very, very repetitive in concept. How many times did we see them kind of run the same exact set, the same exact look? And we only studied them for about a half, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, if every single play started with a jet motion. It felt like there was always some type of motion, and
they bring number 2 in at quarterback. We know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it's the same reads almost every time. I
also don't see a ton of adjustments on the part of this offensive staff, apart from pulling the quarterback. And if we're just going to pull the quarterback before we actually make some offensive adjustments, I think, again, we're doing a little bit of a disservice there. I did rather leave pretty impressed with South Carolina's defense, particularly their front six. I think they do a tremendous job of disguising and pressuring and creating havoc through pressure and disguise. By the way, something that I would put in the game plan for this offense. I think if we're going to beat Brock Vandergriff early and get him knocked out of this football game from a confidence standpoint, we're going to have to confuse him, make him process, make him look at things one thing pre-snap, give him a completely different thing post-snap. I do really, really like the running back. I think the running back's really, really serviceable. Number 0, I like him quite a bit. I don't see how they consistently move the football in this game. I would honestly be shocked if they score more than 10 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because it's going to all eventually fall on Brock for the poorness of this offense, but on tape, I watched South Carolina's game for a good bit. It's a mess between the tackles, and that's not anything that Brock can control. And unfortunately, when you're brought in to be the guy that kind of elevates the offense after Devin Leary, and you're not able to do that because of that, it's going to be kind of ugly for him, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and I just don't even know if the offense is creative enough to get Brock any opportunities. Like, there was a point where they tried, like they were rolling Brock out to his right, and then they even tried to get him on a QB draw, and he's juking out a ghost in the backfield, and it ends up going for no gain. But yeah, they tried rolling him out to his right, get him moving, instant pressure. And I mean, anybody that's watched a football team that gives up instant pressure, you just know, like, your offense can't do anything. You're not allowed to do anything except try and run the football. And even then, like, Kentucky has a good running back, and they found some chunk plays in the run game, but even then, it just feels very chaotic.
I would feel some type of way as a quarterback if I drop back 11 times, 9 of those 11 times I'm applied with immediate pressure, and then they pulled me. I would feel some type of way. Week 2?
Well, I think we talked about that. I think
it was to protect him.
Yeah, I think we talked about this on Monday. I think it was like them waving the white flag. It was like, all right, you've got us by 25 points.
There's really early.
There's 12 minutes left in this game, I think it was.
I think it was even earlier than that. I thought it was a third quarter snatch.
How hard would it be for Kentucky to turn into an RPO style offense?
I think RPOs are pretty simple to implement. Personally,
why not just use a bunch of quick game, give Brock some reads in the run game, like just a bunch of quick action? That's what I think that's what your best, how you would be best on offense. If you can't protect and if you can't keep Brock in the pocket and things like that, just use a bunch of quick game, use his legs, use his athletic ability, and move on from there.
You basically just explained what Hugh Freeze did with Malik Willis for 2 years and damn near won 22 games, which is what we're going to talk about here in just a second. Matter of fact, I think we should do that. Why didn't it happen? Why is Brock Vandergriff at Kentucky right now and Auburn is watching Peyton Thorne suck for the second year in a row? Why is Hugh Freeze a quarterback away from being a relatively above average SEC football program? And I know why Hugh did it. Hugh did it because he told himself and he told his whole entire staff that we're not ready, right? We are not a quarterback away. We're more than a quarterback away. Not if you get the right quarterback. I'm not saying Brock is, but Brock ain't the right quarterback for what Kentucky's trying to do right now. All right? Brock's the right quarterback for exactly what Hugh Freeze does. Hugh Freeze allows the quarterback most of the time, all right, Bo Wallace, Malik Willis, all right, the guy that he's got now isn't as mobile, so he doesn't have these options available to him. But 9 times out of 10, Hugh Freeze's offense work best when this happens right here. You ready? Hey, first read ain't open. Take your ass on off. You 6'4", you 225, you can run like a deer. Take your ass on off. Let's go pick up some yards with our legs, all right? Because that's what Malik Willis did for a lot of those reps in Liberty, right? It was, hey, coach got me a winner. Rip that damn thing right now. All right, coach don't got me a winner. Oh, let's create because we got enough space. We've spreaded the offense out enough. We're not sitting here in double tight 12 personnel in 2-man routes when they're dropping 4 DBs and sending 7 defenders. All right, we actually have a spread system. We actually have grass to run to and ground to work with. All right, and our quarterback, who's a tremendous athlete, is able to be an athlete. It looked like, in my opinion, when it was very clear, which, by the way, don't want to release any nuggies here out in public forums, but it was pretty apparent pretty early on last fall, I would say, that, hey, this Brock Vandergriff guy probably going to be available in the portal. All right, this Carson Beck guy shaping up like he may or may not come back for a second year, which means Vandergriff, the guy that's got 2 years of eligibility left, isn't going to be sitting around to only have 1 year to start in college football. He's probably going to be hitting the portal. Everybody that was anybody and was filling it around and figuring it out kind of already knew that. By December, they definitely knew that. So why didn't Auburn sniff around this? Unless, A, Auburn knew the deal. Auburn was like, no, we don't like it. We don't like the eval. We don't like what we've seen. But how could you? What sample size did you see that made that a possibility in terms of a conclusion? I just feel like Auburn and Brock Vandergriff were a match made in heaven. I think both individuals, program and Brock, would have been way better off than where they're at right now.
I guess the only thing I can think of is that Hugh wanted to allocate resources more to the high school recruiting ranks as opposed to the transfer portal ranks. And that kind of showed up with how he ended this last class and how he's continuing to recruit this year. That's kind of how I envision how he wants his program to be set up. Is he didn't want to be a transfer portal mercenary this year. He wanted to get the foundation laid for Auburn, take his licks this year once again, and just kind of have these ups and downs and just say, we're focused on what's going on next year. We're focused on laying down the foundation, get everything situated so then we can start making some runs at things.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff you can only do if your boosters actually believe in you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like he must have done some lip service around that building to let them know, hey, you can go less than 500 the next 2 years. We're not firing you.
And he talks like that. I mean, there's a quote from last season where
he's like, I mean, hell, it even took Kirby a while.
He tried. He said, like, it took Kirby 3-4 years to go to a title. And then he even told the reporter that said it took him 2 years that he didn't think that was right.
He's like, I don't think that's true. I'm going to have to fact check that.
But even he talks like he knows he's going to be around for a while. He talks like someone that has security.
The lie detector determined that was indeed true. My man did indeed go to a natty year 2. What's up?
Yeah, but that's just the way I think it is. I think Hugh Freeze has made a very staunch effort to say we're not going to take big pieces from the portal. We're not going to rely on getting in this cycle where it's we've got a portal guy this year, then we got to get another portal guy next year because we're falling behind in recruiting. I think he very much wants to build recruiting. He saw the perfect opportunity as well with Nick Saban leaving that state. You can get a stranglehold on the state of Alabama, which is what he did in the offseason. So I think it's more him saying, all right, let's hunker down and really, really take care of this recruiting. Let's build a foundation beforehand because we know, look, we don't have a national title. We don't have a playoff team right now. Even if we did go out and get a quarterback, let's not push as many chips as we can in on this season when we can wait and maybe in 25, 26, and even 27, really have a go at this thing and really have a sustainable program.
Yeah, 25 eligibility. So I'm just saying he would have been the perfect stopgap. You could have grown this year, built your roster up for next year, and had a year 2 quarterback in Brock Vandergriff. Oh, by the way, you want to go sign a 5-star out of high school? That's fine. He ain't starting his freshman year. You don't want him to. Yeah. Right? You don't want him to. So you needed another stopgap next year. They're going to either be in the portal next year for a quarterback or my man, who I got his name written down because it's a classic, top 5 quarterback name. Where is it at here? I think my man's name is Hal. My man's name is Hal, the backup quarterback out there.
I also think we have to entertain the idea that he probably has some feeling of loyalty towards Peyton Thorne Now, whether that's to a fault of his, I think it's starting to rear its head now. But
Hank Brown.
Atta baby.
Hank Brown's eaten at Auburn as a QB, right?
Sounds about right.
Hank Brown, very Alabama name.
Sounds about right.
Yes.
I'm going to find out where Hank Brown's from. He's either from Alabama or Mississippi, no in between.
Indeed.
I feel
Well, he's not going to listen to us for the next 45 seconds.
Well, what I was going to say is, but what if Brock wouldn't have even cost you like
Nashville, Tennessee.
There it is.
Oh, he come from money.
What if Brock wouldn't have even cost like a pretty penny in the transfer portal? Because let me lay it out this way. The teams in these situations kind of have the leverage because Brock has to have playing time. He has to go somewhere. This isn't a move where he's trying to find, he has to find a place because he has 2 years of eligibility left. He needs 2 years of starting. And Auburn could just say, like, we got a spot for you. We'll let you be the starter. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, maybe it wouldn't even cost as much as we think it would be. Now, I know what Ryan Day and other people have said of what the average transfer portal quarterback costs, and I understand that. And he probably did cost a lot more than what I'm saying in this scenario, but just kind of pitching some ideas.
It probably wouldn't have cost as much. You're right. And I mean, there's a good reality that Auburn could have gotten Brock for relatively cheap. That's not to say that Kentucky wouldn't have offered more. I also think Brock put tape on the film or put film on the field last year against Kentucky a good bit. I think that's a game he played the most in. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
So there's a really good chance that Kentucky saw what he did against them and fell in love with him, and immediately after that game, like, hey, we would really, really love to have you. So
Actually, Stoops talked about this week.
we got a wardrobe change now?
I mean, dude, I was
what I'm
burning
saying.
up. I was a little hot. Caffeine, energy, all the good stuff. I was running a little warm. So, yeah. Wardrobe change. Well, I thought it was going to be better off unspoken, but yeah.
Nah.
Where were we at?
Talking about that, Kentucky probably fell in love with Brock, could have fallen in love with Brock after what he did in that game against Georgia.
Yeah, like I said, Stoops talked about this this week, was asked about it, and said that he indeed did take a lot from that game in the sense that he came in and it was more so that he was professional and was clean and the operation ran smoothly, right? And at Georgia, he's getting thrown a lot at him, and they also do a lot of the similar stuff that we do in terms of pro personnel, pro terminology, okay, things that Kentucky does offensively, some of which Georgia does offensively, okay? So some of that made for an easy transition or at least an appeal for Kentucky offensively.
Yeah, I just hope at some point this season where Kentucky can get things figured out, or they can clean things up a little bit in this offense, and you can get a true look at Brock. Because, like we said during watching the tape, like, I don't care what you watch or what you're paying attention to in that Kentucky offensive film against South Carolina, you're not gaining anything from that. You're not learning anything about Brock. You're just learning that this offensive line can't block, and this and there's just no winners. It seems like you can't really figure out what's going on in this offense. So I hope they get things cleaned up so we can get a true picture of Brock Vandergriff.
Chat's got me acting up.
You got a lot of fans.
I mean, I guess so.
A good number of Hank Brown jokes going on in the chat too.
I love a good Hank Brown joke. I love when our chat takes initiative without.
They should take this and run with it.
Yeah, take it.
Get more Hank Brown jokes going.
I love a good Hank Brown joke. If you've seen the photo of Hank Brown, it even makes it better. Hank Brown definitely has the perm of the curl up. You know what I'm talking about? The thing that we got going on nowadays with these kids.
I'm looking it up right now.
You got a shot of Hank Brown?
Yes.
Is he a ginger? Got a little red tint to it, doesn't it?
I don't know. Can we get that on camera?
We can try.
Oh, that's Hoover, dude. He got the split part. I like it.
I don't know if it's going to focus. Oh.
Boom. Hank Brown. No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one to the viewer's left over there. Go over there. I'm talking about the one to the viewer's left.
Yes. That
one right there. That's his Auburn profile photo. That's the new hairstyle of that dude perm they got going on nowadays. The dude perm. What do you think about dudes getting perms nowadays?
I guess they're coming back.
My days of the effort that I had to grow out long locks and let the lettuce rock was a complete failure because my hair is bone straight. Now, it would be back in the day, my friends and family and teammates would have absolutely crucified me if I would have walked up into a hair salon and got a perm in my hair. Okay? It would have cooked me. It would have absolutely cooked me. Called me all kinds of things. Yeah. Things you're not allowed to say nowadays, probably. But nowadays, kids can just go get perms and everybody's like, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah.
It only takes one.
Softening of America. Bring back bullying. I'm just kidding.
Is it softening of America or is it just trend changes?
I guess.
Because I guarantee you had a pair of and one basketball shorts back in the day.
And one basketball shorts? No, but I did have jorts that zipped into shorts.
There it is.
Jean pants that zipped into jean shorts.
There we go.
Them bitches were fire, cuz.
Yeah, see, keep those in 2012.
Bro, if you didn't have no pants that zipped to shorts, you weren't a baller in the
probably had
odds. I'm sorry. You were not a baller in the odds if you did not have pants that zipped into shorts.
I bet he had a truck fit hat and didn't even touch a skateboard.
Truck fit? Hell no, dude. I'm a new era fitted guy. What you talking about?
All right. Fair enough.
Nah, see, chat's mistaken. I did not have jean shorts. See, jorts are a different thing. I had jeans that turned into jorts via a zipper at the knee. Diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. Not a moment in weather that you weren't prepared for.
What idiot thought of that?
False fall was a breeze. False fall was a breeze. Oh, it's cold in the morning? Pants. It's hot in the afternoon? Vroom, shorts.
Well, you put the extra sleeves in your bag?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So you did rock the jorts.
Yes, but see, you're talking about jorts that are standard ops jorts. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about jorts that could also be pants.
A zipper just makes them that much cooler, huh?
Jorts are still jorts, brother.
And then you get hot in class and you do the unzip at the top of the knee and just let the knee hang right there. Just let a little knee dangle out the shants.
Ooh.
Short pants. Shants. Player props?
Yeah,
I like this.
Please.
All right, who wants to go first?
Carson Beck, 260 passing yards.
Oh, I'm going to go under on that.
I wouldn't be so quick. Rain is dipping out on the forecast.
It is. It's down to 50% now.
I think 25 last I checked.
Man, y'all are going to love my Map It Out segment coming up later.
I don't see them airing the ball out this much. One, they've probably adjusted. Like, I know Kirby says it has no effect and doesn't get into it. They've probably adjusted the game plan accordingly. They're probably not going to air the ball out as much this game, especially with a certain team coming in your next game.
Is there a big game coming up?
It's coming. I don't know. I've heard there is. I think they got a bye week next week, but there's someone after this coming. It's kind of a big
like
game.
a top 5 matchup?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe against a relatively unfamiliar opponent?
Yeah.
Huh.
News
familiar face in terms of jersey. New opponent.
Agreed. So
next?
I would go under.
I'm going under too.
I'd go under as well.
How about 1.5 sacks for one Jalen Walker? What are you doing? Over under. It's a good line, by the way.
That's a good line.
I'd say push.
I'll take the over on it just because I don't think this O-line is very good. But I can very well see an avenue where it's a very mush rush type of day. Brock is getting the ball out of his hands quickly, especially with what happened to him last week. And Georgia walks away from this game with maybe 2 sacks at best. Not because they can't get pressure, not because they can't get after the quarterback, but because they didn't design things. Kirby Smart has made a tendency that he does not like to pursue rushing quarterbacks as much as he would pocket guys, just because they can make things happen. And all of a sudden, a 5-yard sack is turned into a 12-yard gain.
Hake Brown sounds like he's a DUI lawyer. Not bad.
Not bad.
Got put in the clank. Call Hank.
Hey,
yeah,
look
okay,
at him.
Will.
Colby Young, half a tud. Does he score this week or not?
He's scored in every game so far.
That would be true.
If he doesn't it this week, are we just kind of saying like he just go for a tud every week? Just
like
end the season with 15 tuds.
Just one catch every week, just a red zone
one
tud.
touchdown.
Just like everybody knows, hey, here comes the fade. Can't do shit about it.
Yeah.
Colby Young tud. So are we going over? We're going under. I'm going to say this is the week he doesn't catch one.
This would be the week where it doesn't happen. But for the sake of it, I'm going to stick with it. I think they get him another one.
How about a push?
Can't push a half tud.
That's the joke. That's the joke. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more?
How about Kentucky 3 and outs, 3.5?
Kentucky 3 and outs, 3.5 over. No, I do not own a pair of Brooks shoes. I did think that was the coolest thing when I was younger and they came out with them. But I'm a Hoka running shoe guy.
I still run.
Yeah. Chicken and rice workout 4 days a week though.
Stair climber.
Ah. It's an efficient fat burner right there. I like the hard stuff. I like the stuff that's gonna make it painful.
I bet you do.
Yeah, I mean, just heavy-handed there. Trevor Etienne, I got 2 lines here. 15 attempts, 75 total yards. 75 rushing yards, excuse me.
I'll take sorry.
I was going to go under on that. I think he
on
gets
both
on
attempts and yardage.
Yeah, I think this is a game where Trevor Etienne gets to about that 10 to 12 range. This is a game where it seems to me like you're going to try to get Branson Robinson going, try to give Nate Frazier some run, and you're probably going to be on your second string backs come the fourth quarter.
I like 13 carries for
Nate
like
Frazier. 86 yards.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Same note. I'm in there, brother.
You guys hang out way too much.
I'm swimming up in that sucker.
Look, man.
Wait till we take a full 12-hour road trip this weekend. I'm going to come back looking like you, and you sounding like me.
In the front yard?
Oh, buddy. Ain't no way you and I ever get in a fist fight. You would never step to that smoke.
No, I wouldn't. I would not.
Jay, well, don't back down like that.
You wouldn't either.
Bro, know your battles.
You would, just to find out. You look like you might be a glutton for pain.
Pain?
Yeah.
Who's to say I'm getting hit?
I'm just saying you might get hit. You look like you'd be the guy get hit by, ooh, that felt good. Let's get another one of those.
Low-key.
I'm going to go find out what that's about. Buddy, you were a 165-pound linebacker. I know all about you.
I was 185.
I know all about you. Nobody messing with Rudes in the chat, though.
Yeah,
That's
I like the over on the
not.
yards, and I like the under on carries, though. I think it's like he's one explosive on Saturday, and I think he's going to get one.
Here's one I'm really, really interested in, and I think off rip it's going to be kind of a surprise, but Malachi Starks, 4.5 tackles.
Malachi Starks, 4.5 tackles. I'll take the under. Too many bodies.
Fun fact, he has not had more than 2 tackles a game this season. He's got 3 total tackles in 2 games. Very surprising to me. And it kind of goes back to that theory we had preseason where it was like, they're not going to run at him, and you're going to have a linebacker core and a defensive line that's going to get to whoever's running the ball before he does. So
based on how Kentucky runs offense, they might call plays like Malachi Starks doesn't even exist on the field.
Yeah,
they may not even be paying attention.
Yeah. They're very interesting from the coordinator's
run
perspective.
left last time. Let's try right.
Yeah, Carson Beck total touchdowns 2.5.
Does that include rushing?
That's what total means.
I'm just making sure because. I'll go under.
Yeah,
I think they really try to pound the rock when you get inside the 10 there.
I'll go with 2. I think he has a 2 touchdown day.
Yeah,
I think it's a nice
UGA sacks 3.5 as a team. Now remember, some of you went over on Jalen's 1.5.
I'll go under. I said I think this is a game where they don't really try to get after the quarterback. They try to more make him uncomfortable and force him to throw the ball because they like him more as a thrower than a runner. I'll go under on that. I think they get 2.5.
I'm going to say over because I think what's going to happen, and this is how I envision this hitting the over, is eventually this game gets so out of hand that you get the young pups in, and they're just hungry to mess some stuff up, and they want some sacks. They want to pad that stat.
Chad's hammering the over on that as well. I like that a lot.
Here's one I think is interesting. You probably hate it. How about Peyton Woodring 1.5 field goals made?
I mean, why you... All right, I think the red zone package is going to be pretty vanilla this week for obvious reasons. I'm going to talk about that in our Map It Out segment. Give me the over.
Yeah, I feel like Georgia's almost guaranteed for 2 field goals every game.
Yeah.
It just feels that way. Like
Just
they get in the red zone so much that you're going to kind of fizzle out every now and then. So Peyton Woodring's going to get some work. I like the over on that.
We got to get a nickname for him. Because
Payday
we went
is what people
went
go.
from Hot Rod to Jewel Pod to now we need...
People say Payday.
Payday?
Payday's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Wood Dog.
Little P Wood.
Wood Dog. P Wood. There it is.
P Wood. Jeez.
Payday. I like that. We'll stay there.
Dom Lovett, 5 receptions.
Over.
I think he's got 4 in him.
Yeah. I think 5 is a great line.
You big under person.
5 is a tremendous line. You should have said that at 4.5. I'd have taken the over at 5.
Yeah, I think this is a game where Georgia gets a lot of offensive players on the field, and they sit on the ball. Keep in mind, Kentucky's probably going to want to sit on the ball too.
All right. Is this the toughest 3-game stretch of college football season for Georgia? And why is the answer no? First of all, I'm going to pitfall you into the yes. Because I think... I don't even know how this made the show notes, to be honest with you. So I want you to make an argument right now. I want you to make a Christian Kirby, I'm going to go Captain Hard stance here, and I'm going to pick this 3-game stretch coming up as the hardest 3-game stretch when there are very clearly and obvious harder 3-game stretches coming up on the schedule for Georgia. Please try.
I totally agree. The reason I put that in the show was because the way I first was going to word it is this the first start of a really hard stretch for Georgia? And then it was kind of, you go from the word go pretty much here. You take a small break in between Bama, you get Auburn, Mississippi State. Auburn's not an easy win. But these next 3 games are going to kind of be the ramping up on your college football season. You're at Kentucky, first SEC road game at night. Then you're at Bama, another tough SEC road environment. Then you come home and play Auburn. Auburn, sneaky question mark game. I don't think it's going to be a problem for them, but it is a game where it's like, I'm interested to see how this goes. Hugh Freeze has dialed up Kirby Smart defenses the last 2 times he's played them. So that's why I was like, this is interesting. It's obviously not the hardest stretch Georgia's had. You've got a stretch where I think it's Texas, Tennessee, and Ole Miss.
Chat's calling you cold plunge Kirby.
Cold plunge chia seed smoothie Kirby.
Little CrossFit Kirby over there.
No, I don't do CrossFit.
2 things about that. Auburn game's at home. Auburn does not beat Georgia at home.
Nope.
Not since for a long time. And then 2,
Nope.
Kentucky kind of boo-boo. So to both of those games, X'd automatically.
They kind of trash, B.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, there are very, very hard stretches down the road. And I think you hit on something here. I think you can kind of pivot this schedule in kind of threesomes, if you will. This Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn stretch is tough, right? But luckily, you get a bye before Alabama. The Texas bye week, Florida, Ole Miss schedule is really, really tough, or our slate right there. And then Ole Miss, Tennessee Tech to finish the season's not easy either. So,
no.
Yeah, I'd almost want to say the Ole Miss Tennessee Tech to end the year.
It's pretty tough.
I'd say that's probably the hardest 3-game stretch.
Because getting, I don't know, man. Florida followed by Ole Miss, followed by Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn tough.
That is.
I mean, there's 3 straight games to close out.
Well, you know what?
Your SEC slate where you're not playing in Athens.
You're on the right path in the sense that Ole Miss, Tennessee Tech is way harder than Florida, Ole Miss, Tennessee. You follow me? Because we think Tech's going to play them tougher than Florida this year.
I would think so.
I think so too.
And I just think Ole Miss and Tennessee, like those 2 offenses, I think that, especially at the end of the year, I think that that 3-game stretch at the very most would just be the tougher 3-game stretch for me, in my opinion, right now. I think that also adding in like a bye week right after Texas, that kind of gives you some time, a little bit to recuperate or whatever. So yeah, the 3-game stretch at the end of the year, that's what I would circle right now.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's definitely, your schedule definitely gets harder as it goes on. But this is one of those first where it's like you're going to find out what this team's made of in the first 3 games. These next 3 games, I think. It's not the hardest. I more so did that to kind of get you going.
Oh,
I know how you.
Oh, is UMass after Tennessee?
yes.
Yeah. So your last 2 games to close out the season are UMass and Tech.
Well, never mind then. Ignore everything I said.
Sometimes can overlook the mass holes, you know? So just bypass the mass every once in a while.
Don't be sleeping on the Minutemen.
Oh, I'm long time snooze button sleeping on the Minutemen.
Man, no love to Andy Isabella.
You know what I'm
Shout
not
out
sleeping
Andy
on?
Isabella.
You know what I'm not sleeping on at all? I am not sleeping on mock drafts in September.
Hell
That's what
yeah.
I'm not sleeping on.
You aren't.
Why would you? Mock draft season's year round. You know, I got my start covering mock drafts.
Yes, I did know that actually.
That's how your boy was introduced to the media landscape. And people saw my draft takes and they're like, this guy's so good covering the NFL draft. We need to have him cover a college football team. So there's the latest NFL mock draft out, and there are 4 dogs in the first round of said NFL mock draft. Obviously, Michael Williams, Carson Beck, and Malachi Starks have been regular staples of these first round mock drafts. Now a new face has made his arrival into the mock draft pool, if you will, for the first round. A one Jalen Walker has inserted himself as a potential first round draft pick per the mock draft's thoughts.
I thought you were going to Dylan Fairchild me.
They sleeping on my boy Fairchild. They don't know nothing about Dylan Fairchild.
I think that right now, since we're 2 weeks into the year, I think it's a lot of, oh, wow, that guy flashes. That guy's playing really well. And it seems like he's gotten better over the course of his career at UGA, and he's taken a step forward this year. So I think that's playing a big role in this, which respectively, yeah. I mean, NFL teams are always looking for great pass rushers, and they're always looking for good linebackers. And if you can get a hybrid of both, NFL teams are going to love you.
I don't want to say this because it's going to seem like it's undermining what he's done. I think Jalen Walker is on this list solely because of the tape he put on the Clemson game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a slight. He put incredible tape on that Clemson game, but beforehand it was kind of like, what is this guy? And everyone's kind of stamped. He's figured it out. Now he's a first round pick. I don't know if that's the case yet. There's first round upside to him for sure. So
I was actually having this conversation with an NFL buddy of mine today about how not only were we talking about the Alabama-Georgia linebacker discussions, but the name Jalen got brought into the equation. And obviously, Quay Rousseau got brought into the equation, right? These two kind of hybrid football players that are on both of these rosters. And both these guys are identical in terms of physical stature, right? They're 6'2" and 1/4. They're 245 pounds. They're too thick and a little bit too long speed's a little bit suspect to be great Sunday prospects at the inside linebacker position, but they're great pass rushers. They can really get after the quarterback because they're twitched up and they can really bend, play with great pad level on the college ranks, but they're 6'2" and 1/4 and they're 245 pounds, so they're not big enough to play a traditional defensive end in the league, nor big enough to be a consistent winner on the edge rusher position in the league. We need bigger, taller, longer, faster at that spot when we go to the next level. We need more compact, a little bit lighter, more explosive at the inside linebacker position the next level. And I'm here to tell you guys, if you're an NFL scout listening to this today, first of all, why are you here? Second of all, listen up, okay? You're going to have a lot more of these types of football players coming into your ranks. The reason being, every level, at lower level of football I'm seeing right now, do you know how many teams are running 3-3-5s? You know how many teams are running odd stacks? And what they're doing is they're just putting 3 big bodies on the defensive line. So you got a bunch of defensive tackle type projections, all right? But now we got these 3 linebackers that were hybrid plug-in every once in a while, and they're playing zone all the time. They don't really have to run and cover. They don't really have to apex. They don't really have to do anything other than hunt and go downhill. So what do these body types look like when they become these stand-up inside linebackers that also have to be able to plug gaps and also have to be able to rush the passer? Well, they get bigger, they get longer, but they're not bigger and longer to the point of defensive ends. They're still linebackers. So guys, these 6'2" and 1/4", 245 pounders that don't really look like inside linebackers but don't really look like outside linebackers, buddy, you're going to be inundated with these guys moving forward. The NFL is going to have to siphon through these types of football players and hope and project every single one of them to be Hassan Reddick and hope and project that they all don't turn out to not be Hassan Reddick. That makes sense? We're about to get a ton of these football players moving forward. A ton of them. Because of the way defense is being played right now.
So the fact that we're going to get a ton, do you think there's going to be a high market demand, or is it going to be kind of a saturation to the point where
I think you're going to see more misses on draft picks at this position.
That's what I'm kind of getting at there.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is a position we so badly need, and we're going to base it solely on measurables just because of, hey, he's not the size to play this position, but he might have the skill set to do so.
Someone called you Kickstand Kirby?
I'll take it. Thanks, guys.
That's crazy.
Wild.
That's quite a big projection.
I hope it's not because I ride a bike around downtown.
I think they're more referring to something else that you should take fondly.
I'll take
that
it.
Comment. Thoughts on Jalen being a first-round draft pick?
Good for him. I mean, it only kind of ensures the thought that we had going into this season of there's going to be a lot of names on these draft boards from Georgia by the end of the year. Jalen being one of these first ones that really has already shot up the ranks, and there's only going to be more than no Dylan Fairchild. He's been playing really good over the last couple of weeks. There's going to be more and more names.
All right, we got 14 minutes left. Let's map it out because we got a nostalgic film study tonight, right?
We have time for it.
Yes, we have a nostalgic film study. All right, map it out. Predictions. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
You don't seem very confident in this.
I just know that anytime I speak, he jumps on it, so I'm trying to tentatively.
Doesn't seem like he's going to.
Just look at him over. He's fuming.
You know what? The best thing for you is when he throws this up, just go 100 miles an hour nonstop and talk over him.
No, but here's the problem. Watch this. So here's why I think the game's going to go down. I think Georgia's probably going to strike first on their first offensive drive.
That boy thought he had some shit. This is how I think this football game's going to go. I don't think Kentucky's offense is any good right now. Not at all. Absolutely bad. Wrong team to be running up against in terms of a defense if you are struggling. It's not just all the transfers, right? It's not just transfer offensive lineman, transfer wide receivers, transfer quarterback, transfer running back. It's a transfer OC. Dude just got there. He got there in February. They are just now trying to figure themselves out in terms of an offensive game plan. Here's the problem, though. You got a bye week. You got Alabama coming up. You beat the brake drums off of Clemson. Very early on, looked like Clemson was never going to, all you had to do was score 14 points to win that football game. Very early on in that football game, that's what it felt like. Second half opened it up a little bit. But then you got Tennessee Tech at home. We ain't got to show nothing against Tennessee Tech to get up on them. Not at all. We can beat them with the basic install. And then guess what? Now, you're telling me, I think Brooksy's telling us we're going to get up 17-3 in this football game, show some offensive explosivity really early, get up on the scoreboard, and then everybody in the stadium is going to go, well, shit, this game's over. At 17-3, 14-point lead, whenever it happens. It could look like 24-10. It could look like 17-3. It could look like however it looks like. The moment there is a 2-score lead, this Kentucky offense is so bad, and Georgia's coaching staff knows, I would imagine by that point in the game, this Kentucky offense is so bad that we can squat on it the next 2 quarters of this football game. We could run the clock out, get out of here with a 14-point win, and a win's a win, baby. We don't care because we've got 3 top 5 matchups on our schedule moving forward. We ain't gonna show nobody nothing. So I think that's what we got going on our hands Saturday, boys and girls. I think Georgia jumps out to a relatively early lead. If you're in the chat right now thinking Georgia's gonna put up 48 points on Saturday, why? There ain't no need to. This football game will be over the moment you've got a 2-score lead, and I think they squat on it after that.
Yeah,
I got Georgia winning 31-10.
Yeah,
I also think there's a possibility for a 24-6 football game on the slate.
Yeah,
I just think Georgia's defense is just too good. Kentucky's offense is just too bad.
You're going to run out eventually.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
People look at this game and think about last year where Georgia had to come out and kind of prove that they had this, quote, explosive offense. It was on the heels of a really bad Auburn game. People were really questioning Mike Bobo. So they did come out and sling this down the field.
Now you see how fast he's going.
This is how I usually talk about it. I mean, do you want me to popcorn read it?
Go.
I think Georgia strikes first on offense. They march down the field. Looks like very much like it's going to be like, oh, shit, here we go. They're about to beat the shit out of them. Then after that, it's probably a slow bleed. I think you see something like a 17-3 game at the half where it's just Georgia. What?
Nothing. Keep going.
Where Georgia's just leaning on Kentucky. It's probably going to be more of the same. I do think Kentucky gets some sort of phantom touchdown here, whether it's just like a really good driver. It's like, hey, Kentucky put everything together there. Or I don't know what happened to Georgia's defense. I have Georgia winning this game 38-10.
Mm-hmm. I think Kentucky gets the ball first. Georgia sets the tone quick. Nice, quick 3-and-out. I mean, just gets Kentucky completely off of the field. Georgia gets the ball, walks it down. Nice 10-play touchdown drive to start. 70 yards. Really, I mean, you want to talk about setting the tone on both sides of the football. That's kind of how I envision the start to this football game going. I think Georgia forces another 3-and-out after that, gets the ball back, and scores off an explosive, making it quick 14-0. And at that point, Kentucky rolls over. They die. Georgia coasts on to a victory. And I think Georgia just controls this football game from the very beginning of this. I don't think Kentucky's going to put up much of a fight. I don't think Georgia's going to do anything to fire back after that. And I think it's just going to be a nice and easy conference win for Georgia. And I have a final score of 34-9.
So here would be my question because I know what's going to happen. If it goes out the way I think it's going to, I mean, you got them 38-10. I feel like Georgia fans are going to walk away with that relatively happy. But if it's a 24-6 football game, there's bitching, moaning, complaining in the chat.
There's some people with some issues.
I already know right off rip. And they're going to say, we got Bama coming up in a couple weeks. Why are we not offensively doing well? What is going on? We're going to have to score points in 2 weeks. I would say, just like I said to you, what if I told you going into this season, you could win, you could be 3-0 and go into the Alabama matchup with them having no real earthly idea of who you are as a football team or what you're capable of. Meanwhile, you've had all the time in the world to prepare for them and not hide or not show any of your cards that you have out available. I think that's a great possibility on the doorsteps of Georgia, right?
And the fact that when you add into that conversation, Alabama kind of had to reach into their bag a little bit to pull away from USF.
Mm-hmm.
Just add that.
Yeah, I do think you have two teams, whether it's Georgia and Alabama, that have circled this game and kind of like, all right, we can get through these first 3 games of the season relatively easily, and they're tucking a lot of things away. So it is leading up to what is going to be a very big matchup, and I do think you've seen Alabama and Georgia kind of hide some things from each other. So that's probably what it is.
Boys, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm a little bit exhausted. Can we pull up that Brock Vandergriff tape right quick and let's get a little bit nostalgic, not to spoil the surprise for the fans. But we're gonna watch some 5-star tape right quick. I remember watching this out of high school. Do you know who I compared him to? And I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it at all.
I do remember. I remember the comp. Give me a hint.
Won a Heisman.
Baker?
Nope.
No, that was Gunner. I don't remember now.
Joe Burrow. And And the reason being, Joe Burrow's ability to extend, get out of the pocket, get flat, make plays on the run with his arm, I thought were dynamic. The other thing I missed about Brock, and it's a learning lesson that I had from an evaluation standpoint as an evaluator looking at quarterbacks. Just because the quarterback's controlling things at the line of scrimmage in high school doesn't mean it's complex. All right. I watched Brock against Gunner, and I watched Brock several different times in high school. And I shit you not, you would have thought he was his own OC. Okay, he was looking to the sideline and he was calling plays that he wanted. He was designing things, he was calling things, he was making checks at the line of scrimmage. And I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, hey, this is granted a 19-year-old senior in high school, but this is a high school football player who seems to me to be his own coordinator. This guy must be an elite brain, son of a football coach. I was sitting here going, wow, this guy must really, really know his stuff. He must be able to process a lot of information. He must have a good computer processor in his head. Little did I know they were red 5, yellow 6. You know what I mean? We're real simplistic. If we call this over here, we got a smash concept. If we call this over here, we got 2 double slants. Oh, by the way, pull the ball down if you don't have it. You know what I mean? It was very, very fast-paced, nice and easy play call. And so what I thought was an elite processor was really just picking between red 5 and yellow 6. So nowadays when I go out and see these kids, I make sure I'm listening to the jargon, the terminology. What is the coach giving him? How much is he giving him? How much does that assimilate to what he's going to play or get in college? All right, obviously everybody's going to talk about the level of competition. I get that stuff, but these types of plays right here is what I was talking about, man. Like, this is why I saw Joe Burrow. If you remember Burrow's Heisman Trophy winning season, there was a lot of standard 3-step drop, get the ball up, like my wide receivers are winning. There was also a lot of, here he goes. He's extending. He just got up and through the pocket right here like this, right? And now he's looking for death shots. Now he's looking for kill shots downfield. What did you guys, as then Georgia fans, not exactly, working for Sports Illustrated, what were you guys thinking about this as a prospect?
I thought he was a tough SOB because if you remember, I think he played this entire senior season through a torn PCL.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, this guy's a dog. He's a winner. I do understand that, yeah, this is 1A football. It's probably not the stiffest competition, but the tape he puts on and his ability to go out and try to win was what really won me over from this.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple times. His sophomore year or his junior year, he played through, the entire second half of the season, he had a damn cast on his foot with so much tape. If you look at his junior tape, there's this big white boot on his foot. He's got like 3 rolls of tape holding his ankle together. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, played the whole 3/4 of this season with a torn PCL in the knee. Waited. I don't think he ended up having to have surgery. I think that ended up repairing itself, but it was a minor surgery nonetheless. He's back to himself now. But you're right, dude. A tough, competitive football player. Obviously, a heavy feature of Logan Johnson in these highlight clips. This is something I wish we could see more of in college, like the fluidity of the arm slot, right? I feel like now in college, like I don't see this from him. Okay, flat-footed. We're gonna flick this ball from the side right here. We're gonna throw it into a window right around this guy and in front of this guy. I don't see a lot of this. I see him standing on 10 toes and being a super linear thrower now in college. Every time he's ripping it.
Do you think there's something specific that caused that to change, or is that just? When he's on the move and he's mobile now, he's almost all linear throwers are forced to become rotational when they're on the move because it's really hard to get up on one side when you have to throw now. That's why we want to be rotational throwers. But I think Brock is naturally a tighter athlete. He's got a lot of muscle mass on him. Everything's wound tight on him. Even when we watch him run, we're not going to see a ton of knee drive. Okay, when this guy takes off, it's going to look relatively stiff in it. He is a wired football player and a wired athlete, and I think that's why we see some of that stiffness in the mechanics. Okay, that's a bomb. It's a great ball.
Your boy's on the sideline of that one. That was a really, really fun high school football game.
Yeah, it was. I remember watching that.
That was amidst of COVID. You would have thought nothing was happening. Mm-hmm. You would have thought nothing was happening. There's that toughness you're talking about there. He's taking a shot on that play. There's the stiffness. You can kind of see it right there on that one. And again, he's standing in the pocket. This is a standard, put the feet in the ground and rip it. See? We're straight armed almost. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's the definition of what we're showing you. Rotate or linear, rotational. Okay. 2 differences right there. But boy, he can spin it.
Yeah, he can.
Can extend with his legs. Super good intangible eval too, right? Mm-hmm. Always going to lead the locker room well. Not going to be any, a
real no-nonsense guy.
Yeah, a real coach's kid. A real bring your lunch pail to work kind of guy. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
That I think should have went to Auburn and played like Malik Willis, which is unfortunate.
Oh, well.
That was a long week of content. We got a whole nother show tomorrow.
As I say, still going on, brother.
Shit, man. I promise I won't be complaining about my work schedule tomorrow. I appreciate you guys for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Bye.